short favorites in this first map. I don't think that anybody's going to be too surprised about that one.
Oh, it does make a lot of sense. And we'll see whether it rings true. MIBR. That proactivity you were talking about coming in, KNG's on the P250. I think he's dropped one across as well. I'm not quite sure. He will end up falling, though. Not able to find anything. No damage, even. Nafany spots them all out. Moving up through the wrap here. They've given them all the room, have Gambit youngsters. Really good stuff from Nafany. However, the kill's coming back through, looking solid. Shiro's still here. And if he can survive, yeah, and buy time for these rotations, I think they can be very happy with that indeed. Bomb does go down, but a 3 versus 2 that kind of looks good for the CT side here. Spam coming in. Taco's lost his teammate. He has to get it all done, and he can't. Gambit youngsters steal the pistol.
That was a really awkward finish for MIBR. They kind of got stuck without those after plants fully in place. As soon as you lose the prod of KNG upon that A ramp, it makes it very difficult for even 4 mid players to break into the A bomb site without taking too many casualties. That's the problem that MIBR find themselves in. A 4 versus 2, down on numbers, and then easily dismantled by Gambit youngsters. It's a 1-0 lead, and they get these rifles out as a response. It's of course not all rifles, Scriv. We've got the double MP9 in play for Axel and Hobbit. Just trying to farm a little bit of cash. But as the T side, getting that bomb down, you get the rifles out yourselves early. 3 sets of those, with obviously Fallen and Co holding a pair of Deagles. Clearly a fairly heavy one-shot potential on those.
Nasty stuff so far. Shiro needs to get out of dodge, and he does pretty quickly. Taking a fair amount of damage, so does need to be careful. 4 on 4, though, is still, I would say, looking good for MIBR. They've gained a lot of ground, more damage onto Shiro. We're pretty happy with this. Quick swap across, a slight downgrade of weapon there for Shiro, of course, being on lower HP, but ultimately, it's all slowed down. MIBR are just, I guess, waiting to catch off a bit more aggression, see if it comes their way. Do still have that utility available. Yeah, you can just see, right, holding the flank and everything, firming while looking to move under the smoke. Nothing really showing. 45 seconds. It's heating up towards the tail end of this round.
MIBR, sorry, just pushing the brakes before they make this final A take. And with the smokes, that should execute it. They've got 3 defenders ready and waiting. Just gesturing right above those smokes. Actually looking for a double boost here. Will they get it up in time? That's the big question mark. Nafany just finding the first. As that C4 goes down, we do have a little bit of a stalemate before the retake can come through for MIBR. The big danger man here being Thur. Just trapped away in this corner. I would say an advantageous angle, but he needs to find some headshots. There's the first onto the MP9. Gambit youngsters now need to respond, and they do in kind. Only Fallen remaining. MP9 in hand to find the second. He's going to try and backtrack. This bomb's still ticking, Scriv. As Shiro wants to get in closer, he might not even have the HP to do the job. This might be another 1 versus 3 by Fallen, and it isn't, but I don't think Shiro's got enough time here. That bomb is so far ticked. It's going to be the last second if he does find the defuse. 1 second left. He's got it.
Just by the skin of his teeth. Gambit youngsters very lucky to be getting away with that one. I mean, that is the heat, the level, the speed that they're going to have to bring and keep up with, of course. MIBR, particularly Fallen, right? Keeping it, well, up in the air for quite some time. Clutch was, in another universe, successful, but not in this one. They're going to attempt to go for another buy, though. AK's coming out once again. It's not terrible, but this is maybe part of what we were talking about, that overestimation not really coming through. Yeah, they really need to be respecting a bit more, perhaps. If they lose this one, it's so much room given across to the CT side. However, middle, it is successful. It's a crazy start. It's a fast start. There's frags all over the place. Axile, ring around the rosy, though, is the difference maker. 3 versus 2 with Taco and KNG being so low. You would assume, oh, they should be able to clean this up, but KNG, so much faster than Axile. Back into the 2-on-2.
They haven't accounted for Nafany on the flank, and this is so awkward. KNG trading places right behind these stairs. He's actually behind this double box here, and Nafany also has no idea. This is going to be a surprise for somebody, as he actually moves on through right into the crosshair of KNG. That's another freebie for MIBR, as they might be able to claim their first round here, Scriv. Hobbit's going to try and make a desperate attempt into this B-bomb site. There is the first, and has all of the information as to where KNG is playing from. He's going to just try and stick this bomb right now, and the AK-47 isn't connecting. Another defuse. 3-0 for GAMBIT. Hobbit's also going to hunt for this final frag, and MIBR's almost, well, just already in nightmare territory. They've lost 2 pretty easy rounds to take. Fallen, I would probably say that that second round wasn't the easiest. It was a 1 versus 3, but definitely opportunities on the table. And such a messy retake there, with just KNG having none of the information and still finding the frag. 3-0. I think the MIBR might just buy up here until they fail to get a bomb plant. That'll be the moment that their money gets broken on this T side, and it's not right now, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I feel that's what the pause is for, right? They were talking things over, working things out, and perhaps cooling things down as well. Really worrisome stuff, right? Like you say, these clutch rounds not going their way early on, it can set the mindset, the tone, I guess, for the rest of the map. Got their map pick, to be fair. But all the same, I think they feel like they should at the very least be keeping things competitive. And within the rounds themselves, yes, but the score not going their way so far. Quick push to come through from Fallen TRK. They're able to drop Axe out pretty quickly. Or Inters should have been overwhelmed, but no, not going to be the case. We've got another one there. Could have been the round. However, not going to happen. And this time, finally, the brute force from MIBR will work out. Shiro on that AWP, other side of the map. No option but to save for him.
Well, for GAMBIT youngsters, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But MIBR coming out with the hammer in round number 4. And to be perfectly honest, Scriv, I think that's probably going to be what works for them. Just this brute force approach, trying to knock into these bomb sites quickly, finding all of those very assertive frags. You see Taco with the double entry there also towards mid, just denying any of those rotations. No opportunity for a retake here for GAMBIT youngsters. As of literally the 1:30 mark, and there goes the AWP as well. Just questioning whether they want it, and I guess MIBR's T-side sometimes does rely on Fallen's AWP, just picking into, especially the A-bomb site above those double boxes, but not feeling like they have to take that risk as of this point. Just wanting to play the 5 AKs. And is that a telltale sign of what's to come, Scriv? I guess that means that they're going to try and turn up the pace again.
Yeah, maybe. Seems to be successful, and indeed, I mean, a round like this is one of the better rounds. Not as much utility for GAMBIT youngsters to keep them at bay. But no, not quite as fast. Early utility, early pressure, but definitely not charging their way in. So I suppose they realize that it's not going to work every single time. Nafany over on ramp. I think he gets flashed in there, able to find one, but traded back. Any kind of damage that they can do to keep this economy modest on the GAMBIT youngsters side with a buy like this, I think they can be happy, but still 4-on-4 with KNG being low. You never know. 3 Deagles in play, a CZ, they can be absolutely deadly if MIBR overlook a single angle or a slightly missed spray down. Really could make the difference here. Hobbit, unfortunately, has missed them, and I think he's going to get a nasty surprise. But no, he does eventually come to his senses and drop back. So really slow in the final minute of this round. GAMBIT youngsters, I think as soon as this utility comes in, they'll just go for a gamble stack. And once again, we're looking at a bloodbath on the A-bomb site.
That does seem to be what MIBR are prescribing. Quick kill. I don't think that this Deagle CC combination should be able to pose much of a threat. MIBR, actually 2 players fairly low on HP, that being KNG and Fur. But with Taco hitting the lion's share of the headshots, it should be an easy round to find. Just 20 seconds left, so it is time to get that C4 down in the safety of that A-bomb site. Nonetheless, Axel just looking for a single exit here. If you can remove a rifle from the server, that's obviously influential going into the further buy rounds. MIBR is already starting to assert themselves with quite a stabilized economy with KNG and Taco. I'm sure they'll be towards the $7,000 to $8,000 mark after this round. That's permitting that they don't decide to buy for Fur. Eagle trying its best. We might actually find one here. So good chunk of damage dealt, but ended by Fallen. 3-2. MIBR are definitely not even down in this map at this point. They've nicely manhandled this CT economy. It's back to eco territory for Gambit youngsters. I guess that's the difficulty with going for 3 retake scenarios in a row, where it does come down to the 1v1 scenarios and situations. Here, Gambit, they're low on cash. Not low on rounds. They've got 3.
They're probably about to lose another one though, eh?
Does look that way.
Yeah, not expecting too much, but it's fair enough. We'll see. A stack here at middle could indeed once again find some damage, which would be nice for them. Get away with an AK perhaps, or walk into a bloodbath. Oh, team kill as well. Hobbit gonna fall there to Inters. Oh, that's a bit awkward. And well, it seems they have weathered this very weak storm. Just a light drizzle from Gambit youngsters here. MIBR came prepared with the Mac, with the umbrella. They're all good, dude. They're going to make it through. And the final frag coming in for Fur as well. So no real contest. Again, as to be expected, we're moving now into this even scoreline. Another rifle round from Gambit youngsters, and a pretty important one to be picking up because their economy, not great, right? You can see coming into this round, we have the FAMAS so we can get some utility. No kits, no AWP. It's going to be hard. But they kind of need to be picking it up, otherwise MIBR will be on that, as you said, dictating the pace path for the rest of this half, perhaps.
Maybe back to speed for MIBR. Straight up a ramp. This is one of the key fights on Inferno and Vertigo, I should probably say. Probably get the map right. That's usually a good start as caster, but nonetheless, with YNG finding that first frag, really does open things up for MIBR, and now all of the options are on the table. They can also swing back to that B-bomb site. Made a little harder that they don't have any presence towards this stairs portion of the map. Maybe just wanting to re-engage towards A for a second time. Of course, there is a triple defense posted. And with Gambit youngsters, I would say that they are effectively stacked right here. It all comes down to who hits the shots. With Nafany quite low on HP, it does become that much harder to get the job done. Shiro has another trade.
Anybody's game right now. Really could go either way. That classic CT smoke coming in. Have to be wary of the facts. Nice little nade. I think it does minimal damage though. 35 seconds left. MIBR are thrown for a loop. Where do we go? What do we do? Still sticking around on A, gonna try and go for the execute once those CT smokes dissipate. And well, Gambit youngsters, they'd start to move people away from A, so gonna have to wait for the fully fledged retake. Nice little molly to come through, giving them as much room as possible here on that T side. Bomb goes down, not able to deny it. This is where the lack of a kit and the lack of utility actually now for Gambit youngsters really comes into play, and they know it. They don't fancy their chances at all, despite it being even. They're going to move away and save. So a respectable decision, but it gives MIBR the lead.
And we're starting to see the effect of that ramp fight and what Gambit youngsters are actually comfortable to throw in terms of aggression. A lot of the time you see that pretty standard CT smoke all the way down ramp just to prevent any initial aggression from the Brazilians. Didn't work out that time, just flashing through. YNG finding literally the only frag on that A bomb site, and that was enough to just allow Gambit youngsters to bail away and just not getting the job done there.
Of course, shout out to Hellcase, the boys, supporting the whole way through with those 2 codes, Malta V15, bit of extra cash, and a 15% refill bonus for you. There's a banner down below, it takes you right to their website. They've got like an esports mode and stuff. It's kind of cool. You should check it out. Either way.
That's their official title, by the way. They are the boys.
The boys.
Sponsorship boys.
Hell yeah. Oh my goodness. No time for talking it over though, Squid, because this one's a real fast round. Straight into Hobbit. Gets traded out. Having a bit of a quiet game, to be fair. Love this. Quick boost coming in from Nafany to find the advantage for Gambit youngsters, and that could make all the difference.
Of course, Hobbit filling in a couple of these building blocks. It's going to be interesting to see how he does slot through in this particular series. against one of the heavier hitters in this tournament. I would say that this is a good angle if he engages through this smoke with nobody from MIBR actually watching it under wraps, just trying to play around all of the clouds. And Shiro, he's going to come out on top in that initial fight. Gambit youngsters, they're holding on to this A-bomb site this time, having just fallen on 11 HP. And this is going to be a 1 versus 3 that I don't think he'll want to go for. Nevertheless, having absolutely no opportunity to escape. The flank was in full effect. Forced forward instead of backwards. Means Gambit youngsters will claim their 4th. And it does seem to be that assertive A-hold is really working out for them. Allow those MIBR smokes to go down. Try and play around them. Even if you've got a FAMAS, if you connect your shots and the opponent doesn't, you're probably going to find that frag at that point. Nevertheless, 3 AKs on the CT side. Shiro back with that favorable AWP. He really is the X factor for Gambit youngsters, Skriv. If he comes alive, then I want to see how MIBR really respond here. Obviously, they're not alien to playing just star AWPers. Shiro's a different brand here on a map like Vertigo, though.
Yeah, he's been taking control of a lot of games recently. I was talking about this in the previous series as well. Because Hobbit's come in, Firepower's taken a bit of a hit while I guess this transition is happening. Shiro's been the one to pick up the pieces. I call out Hobbit, though. He gets a double here. 3 on 3 with Fallen left on 13 HP. It all seems to happen at once towards the top end of ramp. MIBR are no further forwards. But then Gambit youngsters also not a clear victor of this one, so... right back to square one, it feels like, for the team side.
I do wonder what that seesaw break-even point for Gambit youngsters is going to be, where they're happy with the number of CT rounds that they've taken. I've got to think that 6 might be that break-even. Obviously, that puts a lot of pressure on your T-side pistol as well. But MIBR, they are a little light on this T-side, and we'll certainly be looking for a couple more. That's an open opportunity. Gives a whole retake, well, towards the B bomb site, perhaps. And MIBR might just be faking this one out. You can see that they've pulled the single man on the rotate back to the curly letter. That's Shiro unable to defend this A site before the push comes through. Now MIBR obviously have a decision to make. How far are they going to invest into this one to try and find inters? That's quite the headshot. And put Shiro in a nightmarish scenario. Probably just wants to bail and save this AWP.
Would indeed make sense, but that in and of itself could be difficult if he chooses the wrong place to save. Does appear they're eventually going to start moving forwards and maybe look for him. They have plenty of cash to work with, so sure they don't mind to drop a player or two, but ultimately it looks like he will be able to save. MIBR, though, still remaining that one step ahead. Gambit youngsters definitely hot on their heels, and like you say, there is a point at which you have to look to MIBR and say, kind of coming at it from the other angle that you did, it's like MIBR have to shut things down and make sure that Gambit youngsters can't expand any further than where they're already at. And where is that point? I feel it's probably like the 5 or 6 round mark. And with the way that things have been going, Gambit youngsters, like I say, competitive and not completely down and out. This round going to be harder for them. The money is tough for inters. Other than that, though, able to put together a buy. And, well, good guy Hobbit drops him a FAMAS as well. Costs him a lot of his own utility, but all the same, they all have automatic weaponry or, of course, the AWP. Something they prefer to use. So they should be able to fight back relatively well. Oh, Fallen. That's a hell of a shot. A shame we don't see it from his perspective, but you can definitely tell how that one looked. Flash over the top. Shiro can't escape. Meanwhile, KNG and Fur doing absolute bits over on ramp. So it seems they've broken the trend where Gambit youngsters gain a round back after losing one. Not going to be the case coming into round number 10.
And remember, MIBR actually did make the decision earlier to not pick up that AWP. So fancying a bit of a change of pace in the final 6 rounds, putting Fallen on that AWP, I'd say that that's definitely an upgrade for him. And that's exactly why. Just such a headshot to pump through. And I can't imagine that these final 2 rifles are going to save Skriv. The flashes are coming in. They're trying to save up on the stairs, and it's never going to happen. Taco ends them. That's a 6th round, and more importantly, no rifle power saved here into the 11th for Gambit youngsters. It might be time for another tactical pause for them. And yes, exactly as the doctor ordered, bit of time to actually discuss the setup, which seems to be all going wrong. When you actually look at the trend of these rounds over the course of the last, well, 10, it was actually quite a few early rounds. We got to 4-4 for GAMBIT youngsters. Obviously, they took a little bit of an early lead. We were almost questioning MIBR right on the offset. Remember, GAMBIT youngsters actually took the first 3 of this half as well, so it's been a downward trend, losing 6 out of the last 7 as of that point. So definitely a danger zone in this first half that allows MIBR perhaps onto 10 rounds here. That's certainly good enough on your T side. Nice to see that the Twitch chat is fired up for this one.
I would expect nothing less. Quiet start though. MIBR just kind of sending the feelers out there. I don't think they're quite sure of what the buy looks like. So not getting too ahead of themselves just yet. Really quiet round, actually. Minute 20, there's still a fair amount to go, but just with the pace that we've seen employed from MIBR particularly, it is a change in that sense. They'll start to move in, though. Nice nade, good molly as well. Nafany pushed out into an awkward spot. We're just seeing, even for me, watching MIBR, with watching so much of the action from a tier 2 perspective recently, their utility usage is way, way different, and they have a few innovative things that some of these other teams are not employing so much. Axile! Okay, hold on. I thought the round was pretty much going to be over. Surely a bloodbath there at the top end, but going the way of MIBR. So I chose to talk over it, go a bit tactical. But Axile, of course, coming in with 3 out of nowhere. And now Taco, the weight of the world on his shoulders for this clutch.
Playing a back and passive angle. Here comes Taco. Of course, that bomb is absolutely separated from him. He needs to go back and grab it, and with only 16 seconds left, he's actually timing himself out at this point. It's right at the bottom of ramp. He's not leaving him many seconds on the clock to actually get the C4 down and away. And of course, Axel is going to absolutely know this. The bait once, but Taco needs to get that bomb down right now. Axel should know this. He's going to come charging through, missing a bunch of deagle shots. Now he needs to connect. Oh, finally nailing one, but it's not good enough. Taco ends him. That's a 7th for MIBR, and I'm not sure how he got away with that one.
My goodness, they are counting their lucky stars right now on the MIBR side, because that got out of hand fast. Ninta's coming in with one. That's kind of all I expected, but I guess too much damage coming in, really, and Axel just capitalizes off the back of it. Solid stuff from him. At the very least, look, they don't clutch it out, and that is a shame, but you have to look to the silver lining. It's a lot of damage done, bringing some players' money down on the MIBR side. Other players still rich as hell, but all the same. Have to take the good with the bad, of course. Nafany in an aggressive position here. KNG on the other side of the smoke, waiting for it to dissipate. Who gets the drop here? Who gets the better position? It's Nafany. It works out for him. Shiro, meanwhile, has drop fallen towards mid, I believe. Maybe towards B. No, looks like mid. All the same. 5-on-3 going the way of GAMBIT youngsters.
Finally, a little bit of success, and that's a lovely shot from Shiro. Just spotting out the leg and able to connect. Puts them in a massive advantage. A 5 versus 2. Right outside of this A-bomb site, MIBR, it needs to be headshots galore. They're going to have any chance at nailing this one. And Shiro's just ready to meet them. Not with a handshake, but with an AWP. Nice headshot. Pretty much does finish off this round. Unless the ace is going to come through, really. This is certainly something, but it just ends things. 5-7. Nice little shutdown there. Just negotiating the AWP all around the map. Shiro staying unpredictable. And where else would we expect to see him other than the top of the scoreboard? 12 kills, only 6 deaths. Obviously a pretty good start. I don't think that nerves necessarily affect this boy. What am I, boy? It's the youngsters team, Scriv. They're all boys.
The young guns. Yeah, this is kind of the thing, though. I mean, Inters has never been the biggest fragger. But, and look, as far as I'm aware, Hobbit's taken over the in-game leading role. So to me, that kind of means Nafany has to step up. And he does, as far as in-game leaders went, it was a fairly loose style that they employed. But he was always fragging kind of well. I think it needs him to go a step beyond, though, to just kind of pick up the mantle that Supra seems to have left ever so slightly. Team like MIBR, it's tough to do that against, of course. But hopefully in future, in the coming weeks, he can provide some good numbers. KNG gonna drop Hobbit. Shiro, though, again, looking good. And TRK has the bomb. It's now in the feet of the CTs. Meanwhile, KNG gets traded over on ramp. Great flash here. Axile catches Taco with his pants down, and the bomb's being mollied off. It's a 4-on-2 that they have to play into the hands of Gambit youngsters in order to recover the bomb and therefore the round, as well as finding the frag. So a real tough task here for MIBR, actually.
It seems like MIBR have totally slowed down the pace on this T side, and it's really not worked out for them. Losing now a couple of rounds in a row, giving Gambit youngsters a chance onto the scoreboard. And realistically, Scriv, I want to see that overwhelming pace. It was able to merit them the likes of 4-5 rounds in a row earlier in the half. I think that's probably how you have to end things in rounds number 14 and 15. With Fallen being spotted out, that's the game plan given away. The rotates can come through. They've still got the second defender over towards this B-bomb site. There should be no opportunity for a bomb plant here. There's Axel just ending another one, leaving Fur versus 3. And he's only got 6 HP. This isn't going to happen. 6-7. Gambit youngsters nicely trailing the rounds back now. And I think on this CT side, Scriv, you probably only need 6 or 7 rounds. I think Gambit youngsters, even if the half ends 6-9, will be okay with this sort of a setup. If they can take a couple of bonus rounds to finish things off, I think they're going to be very, very happy about this one. And considering this is their map pick, it's of course one that they have to win, with Dust 2 coming up next. That's a really scary pick for MIBR to whip out. We know how good Gambit youngsters can actually be on Dust 2. Some would say that it's one of their, if not their, home map. I'd say that it's one of their home maps.
Yeah, I think so. Particularly at the moment, it looks really good with Hobbit, actually. Again, based off of the last series, he was a solid B anchor. But we'll see whether that translates against MIBR. I agree with you, though. It definitely is a home map for them. Vertigo at one point was also a home map for them, and one of their better ones at the moment. Mirage at another point. They just look really solid across the board, of course, going on that, what, like 30 game, 21 best of 3 win streak, whatever it was. Pretty sick stuff.
Exactly. When you're going on a 21 series streak, there really probably isn't many maps that you're bad on. And that's what's so scary about playing Gambit youngsters, right? Is they've got such a diverse and a depth into their map pool that not many teams at this sort of tier has. So maybe if they were playing in the likes of an ESL Pro League, playing with a lot of the tier 1 teams, they would struggle a little bit more. But here in the solid tier 2 division of the scene, they can really ramp home and roll through those wins. That's the question mark that Hobbit now brings to the table, being not a new player, but back to the past for Gambit youngsters. That's a question mark as to why they've done this.
Yeah, pretty big one. But we'll see. Moving into this round of Counter-Strike. Looking good for MIBR. Shiro and Nafany to try and recover things back. It's not impossible, you know. Shiro dropping Taco. Oh, that nade. TRK left on 1 HP. That might make the decision for them. He could also find a head with this angle. The second nade comes in to finish him off, though. 2-on-2. Looking more and more likely for Gambit youngsters. Flash and Molly to follow up. They do have kits available. Time's still of the essence, though, and they need to be finding these kills, of course. Fallen trapped as he takes a bit of flame damage. Trying to find the heads, not going to happen. All onto Fur. He's got 30 HP. Does manage to drop one, but the trade comes in, and there should just about be enough time to get the defuse. I think, actually, it's just about gone for Shiro. That's so unlucky. MIBR, oh my goodness. They make some kind of a deal with the devil on that one, making the 8th round possible. But
I guess there's a little bit of poetic. I guess there's a little bit of poetic justice in that, considering MIBR had the exact reverse thing happen to them earlier in the map. I like to see the universe kind of evening it all out.
That is fair. I mean, it happens, right? Karma and all that. If you believe in it, it's fully come full circle so far with that round.
I don't believe in karma. I believe in poetic justice. There's a beauty to it. Is this too deep and philosophical? Are we going right over everybody's heads right now?
I mean, maybe for the first map. If we're like 4 overtimes deep on map 3, you know.
We could get into the Archimedes. Whip out the textbooks. And there's nothing textbook about this one. A bit of ramp aggression from Gambit youngsters, not paying dividends, leaving just Shiro on this A-bomb site, and he's the next to fall. It should be an easy 9th on the board for MIBR. And realistically, when you put it into the balance, Scriv, this is a very like close, just tight half. What we'd be expecting to happen between two even teams. If there's potentially a change of pace going into the second side, I really don't know what to expect for this Gambit youngsters terrorist half of a map like this. Maybe they'll come out all guns blazing. Obviously, this is a retake that they will go for in the 2 versus 4. But with a lack of utility here, the final smoke is going to drop onto this A-bomb site. And they're already running out of time. That bomb half ticked. And IBR with all of the angles posted, and that's a lot of damage dealt onto Winters, means Axel pretty much has to do this on his lonesome. And where are the headshots going to come from? With the smoke placed, he gets double peaked. That coordination that we've come to know and love from MIBR coming to play once again. That's a 9th.
Like you said, I think this half comes as an okay half for both teams, right? Nothing incredible, nothing disappointing. A couple rounds here or there that really did sway things, right? Of course, there's close defuses for both teams, making a pretty big difference, actually. But overall, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good for sure. And we'll see whether MIBR can continue it into their CT side. There's a lot of utility bought up here, Squid. So this is going to be interesting to see what they do with it. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, 2 mollies, 2 smokes. Also kind of interesting.
I think the CTs and MIBR having this much utility is the real difference maker here. They've obviously got a plan in mind. You will never compromise 3 sets of Kevlar unless you have a real solid idea in this nade stack. Oh, it does a heavy amount of damage to start things off. I don't know how much that's going to rattle Gambit youngsters in their pursuit towards this A-bomb site. Obviously knowing that there is going to be 2 defenders upon this A-ramp. And just trying to stick around for the gunfight here. YNG right over the top. Nobody connecting with anything. Tons of damage has been done, but no frags thus far. That all changes with Fallen and Shiro trading each other out. And Gambit youngsters, are they going to backtrack from this one? Taco's got it all cornered off. He's coming in for the fast flank. And as Axel finds another pair of shots, look at all of the damage that's been dealt onto Gambit youngsters before this push comes through. This is a total tragedy towards the A-bomb site, and Taco might be able to just end the storyline. Quick shots doesn't connect.
Yeah, he needed to go bigger than that, I think. My goodness, though, they are so low. Fur has the chance. He's creeping in slow. He's a little unsure. Are they behind him already, maybe with 1 player? Is that where they're rotating back? But no, he's just walking his whole way. Taking it nice and slow, nice and quiet. Bomb plant coming in. Nafany up close. Checking all these angles. He's going to catch at least 1 off guard or not. Hobbit spots him out, and it's important that he does. Clean headshot comes through, and the trade from Hobbit as well. Brilliant stuff. it could have been disastrous, but not going to be the case. Gambit youngsters off to that strong start of the T side they were really, really looking for. And I would imagine a force buy from MIBR are going to come through, and then we'll see the gap close. Of course, loot bet, those odds still pretty much the same, if I'm remembering correctly, in favor of MIBR. So Gambit youngsters definitely got their work cut out for them.
And eating the absolute full eco here for MIBR. Nothing in the way of an investment. I think just the single flash on Fur. Pretty much as little as it gets here in Counter-Strike. Deprived of that all-important 10th round. I talked about the pistol being a very influential round, an impactful round for Gambit youngsters. They do take the majority of them here on Vertigo. And well, once again, just, well, besting MIBR on that A bomb site. Axel winning all of the gunfights. MIBR just forced back, and that all-important prod from Taco doesn't pay dividends. I think he needs to find 1 or 2 frags from there, and that opens things up completely. But here are the pistols. This is all really about damage for MIBR. If they can find 1 kill, maybe even 2, then they'll be more than happy with this one. But that's much easier said than done in a round like this, where you've got the Mac 10s out the ready to chew you up.
Could be deadly. I think it will be more likely than not. Smokes in deep. Plenty of room to work with. That one flash comes over the top. No success in Nafany. Well, he's making money. Laughing all the way to the bank on that Mac 10. $1,800 for him. Maybe a kill for Fur. Oh, it comes close, and the team killed Nafany. No, he wanted his 4K.
no.
Shiro stole it.
Get the violins out. That's our second TK of the map, Scriv.
Yeah, for Gambit youngsters as well.
I think they'll be able to shrug that one off. It is only a Mac 10 dropped anyway. And you see that Nafany gets rid of his SMG straight away. 5 rifles for Gambit youngsters. They don't want to take any chances here against the Brazilians. They want to get the rifles in hand early. Play against this fairly shaky buy of MIBR. When you buy into the 3rd round like this, you're always deprived of that all-important utility. And that makes your A-side defense that much weaker. Yes, that initial ramp smoke goes through, but how long can they really hold the pressure from Gambit youngsters here? Apparently not very long, with that initial pair of headshots rattling in. Hobbit Nafany doing all of the preliminary damage, leaving just Taco in the way of this pincer on the B bomb site. He needs to pull together an absolute masterclass here. The first headshot, but I don't think it's going to be too much more here. He's been completely spotted out. His position is null and void. Yes, he's got a lot of HP in the back pocket, but that's all changed by Nafany once again. That's 6 kills in 2 rounds thus far.
Absolute beast, mate. Absolute beast, including, of course, that team kill. Which... you have to.
No, you've got to include it. I guess that's 7 kills then.
Big.
Got to add it to the tally. Let somebody total it up.
Only fair, right? You know.
A kill's a kill.
Yeah, exactly. They take it away in the game as well. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Come on, Valve. Give credit where credit's due. I've just got a growing list of complaints for Gabe Newell.
Yeah. Send him that email every couple weeks, you know.
Counter-Strike is the beautiful game. That's the thing.
Hell yeah.
You can tell that it's so perfect that even just like a little gun glitching through the wall and everybody goes crazy, that there's no sort of game-breaking bugs nowadays. Touch wood, of course. This is where they like add the revolver back in with like 10 times fire rate or something insane.
Listen, I am all here for that revolver, honestly. I say this every time it comes up, but like the first few days that it came out was like some of the most fun that I've had on Counter-Strike. Obviously, it's ridiculous, right? And can't stick it. I get it. But I just wish there was maybe like a legacy mode or whatever where you could play... everything's the same except the revolver is as strong as it was. That's
the best thing about the revolver as well is there was actually just like a flurry of professional matches played that week. Where
some of them banned it, some of them didn't. Yeah.
Those gentlemen's agreements, you can't always keep them.
Nafany is just killing everybody right now. What is going on? He's got another 3k in this round.
He's a one-man army. We need to get somebody from production to add a little Nafany tag on the left of the screen. I know that we've got the scoreboard, but that's not good enough. We've got to have a little counter, a little Nafany counter.
Taco not able to find anything then, as Gambit youngsters will move up to 10. Their T side looking formidable early on. 4 in a row very, very quickly. MIBR, I think, going to be quaking in their boots ever so slightly. As that CT economy, right? It's not had chance to get started. They're, of course, in this position where it's buy, half buy, half buy. They need to break the cycle, otherwise Gambit youngsters might build up enough momentum and money to just keep rolling for the rest of the game. Of course, their map pick, typically not a fantastic map for MIBR, but we're moving into Dust 2 next. You need to make sure, at the very least, you're keeping things competitive, and it has to start with this first round.
Yeah, with one rifle round here down the toilet for MIBR, I think that this will be the key one. Just pressuring towards the A bomb site once again for Gambit youngsters. The Molotovs just going through to prevent that AWP from Fallen finding anything too early. They need a Molotov for the sandbags here. And KNG, you see that he has the smoke absolutely at the ready. But this will be all important information if they do get that molly down and through. It seems like they are heading towards the fairly open B bomb site here. Taco, he's playing towards middle instead. He's got so much of the map to cover, and with MIBR 4 players on this A bomb site, this is being read like an encyclopedia, Scriv. Hobbit, he's heading towards the middle of the map. If he finds this kill on Taco, I'm pretty sure this will be just a solid save from MIBR. This is the all-important frag, and as the nades rattle in, there's going to be a null and void defense towards this side of the map. Taco gone, and I think MIBR, it's an easy option here to save. Obviously, the crosses will come through, just peering over this smoke here for Hobbit. Just trying to rail down another one, and that damage will seal the deal on the B bomb site.
Wow. This is incredibly divisive stuff so far from Gambit youngsters. Another kill came in there, of course. TRK, KNG looking to save. And I think they will be able to, but an 11th round for Gambit youngsters, just continuing to move forwards real fast here. Hobbit has a bit of an idea that someone could be in towards the ladder room, but doesn't really check it. And KNG says, well, I'm actually in here. Should have checked it properly, mate. Does cost him his life, but it's all good. Got plenty of cash, plenty of confidence. Steamrolling ahead on the T side.
This round's really going to matter for MIBR. If they allow Gambit youngsters onto 12 and perhaps even 13 as a result, with the CT money fairly broken, I guess it all comes down to how many MIBR can actually save after this one. Nonetheless, has to be a fairly decisive round if they're going to get back into this one, up to double digits perhaps, and try and contest for these 21st and 22nd rounds. This is definitely a potential turning point in this first map of the series, where Gambit youngsters could very easily just sweep this to victory, 16-9, 16-10. We might actually see a competitive map yet. I do like this boost for KNG. I can't imagine that Gambit youngsters will allow this to go unchecked, but it feels a lot like the flower pot boost on Inferno. For years, teams, players didn't check it. Nowadays, it feels like you always have to have somebody looking towards that side of the map. Ooh. Wow, it's Hobbit just rattling through that headshot to get us started.
Nafany, KNG trading tit for tat. KNG though in with 2. That's big. Pulls it back into a 3-on-3 and makes this look doable. Shiro though on the AWP looks away for a second. That's when the cross comes in and he does miss that shot. Meanwhile, Fallen's still up close, baiting out his teammates ever so slightly, gets the dink onto Shiro, and is able to move back into alleyway. Shiro gonna fall. Looking good here. Intis does swing in, catches Fallen, as I think he was swapping across to an AK there, so certainly awkward, but he does enough damage to allow for the frag to come in with that nade. Meanwhile, Hobbit is left 1-on-2. Fake attempt at the bomb plant. They will begin to slowly creep in, but nothing really showing itself through the smoke. An attempt is made, but Hobbit can't find anything. Now he goes for the hold, and well, that's when KNG finally strikes. Really well done from KNG in that round. Double digits found for MIBR, and finally putting a stop to Gambit youngsters.
And that A stack finally paying off. They've gone for it till 3 times at this point. Gambit youngsters, they find a way to circumnavigate this defense, just challenging Taco on his lonesome. I really do think that if Gambit does get a good read on this setup from MIBR, it might just be the B site for days for this T side. That is quite hard to do on a map like Vertigo, where you do want to be contesting for ramp control. If MIBR don't spot those initial Molotovs and smokes all the way through, they're definitely gonna smell a rat here in the early portions, and that is a lovely swing from Fallen. That's the difficult factor with not having that ramp smoke placed. I really think that Gambit youngsters should be very aware that that AWP swing is coming in without the smoke. Because remember, that is usually a smoke that the CTs throw practically from CT spawn at the very start of these ones. Without it, you've got to say to yourself, well, they've got to not place the smoke for a reason, and it's not economy here. Obviously, Fallen, he wants the space.
Nade almost landing. Not quite, though. Of course, Fallen looking solid on this AWP. Hopefully get to see more of him with it as well. He's up to 16 frags. Decent stuff. Shiro also tagged up, so there's a lot of potential for this AWP to pop off. TRK caught in transition. The Fallen YNG, the dynamic duo on that A-bomb site, shutting it down. Shiro tries, but Shiro misses, and Shiro will fall. Another great round from KNG. And a strong round from MIBR as well. Looking good as they are turning this CT half back in their favor. Oh, and we don't have enough money just about. I think they're going to go for it, but it will be a rough buy here for Gambit youngsters.
Yeah, the Pistons are certainly starting to fire for MIBR on that A side of things. KNG routinely coming in with multi-kills. That's another triple from him towards his side of the map. And this time, it's actually Fallen just to open things up. Really nicely done, just to spot ramp. We talked about that mistake made with the smoke grenades from Gambit youngsters. If the CTs aren't going to throw them, you probably want 1 or 2 of your own. Once again, Fallen just trying to find angles. He's a bit of a magician when it comes to this ramp area. Just trying to find shoulders, and that's another opening for him. Gambit youngsters need to be very careful of this AWP towards the A site. If they keep giving Fallen these opportunities to rail them into 5 versus 4 situations, this map is about to get a lot harder.
Yeah, this is really not looking good in the recent rounds. Gambit youngsters, against kind of teams of their own caliber, are very capable of coming back from behind. And they do it fairly often. We saw it in this game, a 4-on-2 happened, right? But that happens quite a lot when they're against a 25 to 35 kind of team or anything beyond that. But MIBR, you would feel, with their experience, with their prowess, should be able to convert these rounds after finding the opening so early on, so very often. But we'll see. Secondary AWP of Taco misses the shot. Fur able to get one, but traded back. KNG gonna fall. Shiro drops Taco. There's kills all over the place here, Squid. It's into a 2-on-2, though. The rotations are in nice and fast. The bomb plant coming through. The molly a little bit late for it. There's so much to talk about, so much going on. Shiro tagged up ever so slightly. The retake in full flow now. They do have kits, but they just need to land these shots. That's what it's all about, of course. Shiro with a great angle. Able to find the first. Flicking for the second, but can't get it done. Fallen's had a nice start to the last couple rounds. He now needs to have a great finish, and they will double peek him. Beautiful stuff. Chef's kiss from Gambit youngsters, and that will be their 12th.
That was just a beautiful combination from Shiro once again. You see that he ends Taco's AWP on that B bomb site. That opens it up like a can of worms, and MIBR have to go for the response on the retake. They can't get any closer, despite the flurry of utility in the reserves. Able to pop the smoke and the Molotov right over the top, forcing Shiro into quite an awkward angle. He needs to take a really weird avenue of approach with the AWP, but you can rely on him to hit these shots. 25 frags here on Vertigo. A startling performance to catch the Brazilians off balance. and they're still stuck on 11 rounds. A bit of a barn burner in the first match. Obviously, we've got Dust 2, we've got Inferno as our reserve map, our third and final if we need it. Both teams actually taking tax before we get back into the action. Remember, Scriv, this is a key swing round. Whoever loses this one, they're going to be stuck without cash. There'll be nothing in the reserves. You see that GAMBIT and MIBR, they've both spent the entirety of their banks pretty much, with only a grand in the reserve for Shiro. Obviously, he wants his AWP in hand in every single opportunity. And I actually don't know what Axel or Fallen is holding. So it could be Deagles. We see that he invested $2,900, so it will be the Mac 10 instead. Not perfect buys from either side here. The double Famus for MIBR, they're going to be ferociously challenged for the 13th right now.
I'm excited, man. Crunch time. This is what we wanted between these two teams. Evenly matched. GAMBIT youngsters with a bit of a test. An opportunity to be another giant killer. And really one that on the come up on the performances that they've been having will kind of give them that idea of whether what they're doing is successful and going to indeed move them into the upper echelons of the strike, or is there still some more work to be done? MIBR, for all their faults, you could definitely say at this point are somewhat of a gatekeeper team, right? They're definitely vulnerable, but they should still be able to beat these lower tier teams. GAMBIT youngsters have all the momentum and the smoke that they've been working on, but will it be enough? TRK only good for one. Opportunity at a second, but it doesn't really work out for him. Meanwhile, Fallen on the AWP, looking to try and get aggressive. We've got 48 seconds left. Hobbit's going to go down. The bomb itself, though, is quietly and sneakily making its way back to B. There's still a player waiting, but it is somewhat vulnerable.
They leave Taco pretty much on his own towards this B bomb site in every single opportunity and trusting him to find at least 1 or 2 kills right here. The nades aren't going to connect, but that quick scope will certainly. Axel's there to finish him off, and Fallen has to do everything up close with the AWP. Nicely bailed out of trouble by a couple of smokes, and well, there's the flank just to finish things. Shiro, just 1 HP in a dream. That bomb miles from going down. There's another wall bang, but Fallen does nicely finish him off. Closes things up again, 12-12. And we are going the absolute distance here on Vertigo. Remember, this is GAMBIT youngsters' map pick. We would be expecting them to perhaps take it in a close competitive series, but this is where their mental fortitude comes into question. How are they going to finish this one off? They've obviously not got a good buy whatsoever. This is, in fact, the force for them. This is a massive risk to take. I'd say that if you go with Glocks here in 25, you probably have a bit of a shaky buy in number 26 as well, but a couple of AK-47s, maybe a Galil body armor, and a flurry of nades as well. There's no right option. This is a definite dilemma, and they've decided to, well, force into this MIBR side, and Thur's going to be the first man to be met with the aggression. He's going to be right between the pistols.
Taco, oh, maybe missing the opportunity. Actually, no, stays alive a little while longer than I expected there. Bringing it now down to a 1 versus 3 with the bomb out in no man's land for Nafany. He does have himself an M4, but he needs to pull off a reload. Able to do so. They are waiting patiently. 2 AWPs trained on the angle. What does Nafany do? Well, he doesn't have many options. He could go for a long wrap. He could wait around here and try and double fake it out. At the end of the day, he has to move in and die, really. He doesn't want to be saving after this one. And, well, the decision's been made for him. TRK tags him down to 6 and finishes him off. 13th round for MIBR. It does look like here, Squid, towards the tail end, they might just be able to squeeze it out. And that is a worrisome prospect.
Yeah, certainly for GAMBIT youngsters, I don't think if MIBR win this particular map that the series is all done and dusted, with Dust 2 coming up next. As we've talked about, that's a pretty strong map for GAMBIT youngsters. They're certainly not sleeper agents on that particular turf after just taking a win against Hellraisers. 16-9, Hobbit being the kingpin of that GAMBIT youngsters side. early here in the 26th. And this will be the solid eco for Gambit youngsters. They obviously don't have the bank to go for any form of investment. Down to the mid-2000s. That flash just to allow a little space onto ramp, but it doesn't really seem to do anything there.
Yeah, kind of as to be expected in this round. Fallen finding 2 on the B2K even. Little cheeky of him. Gets a 3K with it. All right, 4 overall. Just charging in with the pistol, I suppose makes sense. It's easy to get overwhelmed on the AWP in all fairness. Nonetheless, throwaway round for Gambit youngsters. MIBR moving up to 14, so pressure is on. Can't be losing this round. I think if they lose this one, the game, goes with it, and therefore they'll be moving into Dust 2. MIBR's map pick. A map down. That's definitely not what they want.
Certainly not. Shiro, as a response, has picked up this glass cannon AWP. He's sending that one towards a ramp, but the nade stacks that MIBR very commonly go for would prove incredibly problematic if he gets slammed. I think he's a little too far back to be met with that one, so he doesn't take any preliminary damage. Is MIBR just trying to hold serve? Fallen's been such an influential member on this A bomb site. You see the double AWPs, him and KNG. This is a little peculiar, Scriv, to play both of the AWPs just on ramp like this, almost holding a crossfire with the snipers. Means that if this B bomb site does go down here, the retake is going to be so awkward. It would be tragedy. And that's why MIBR have put 2 players quite forward over towards the B side of things. Fur's often that second floating voter. And Fallen and KNG. Let's see how well the double snipers hold up. A couple of flashes. There's the first to fall. I think Fallen needs a couple more than this, as he does sweep back into the safety of that A bomb site. But how much of a safe space is this going to be with the Molotovs raining in? That one doesn't catch him. And Gambit youngsters creep closer.
Oh. Fake attempt coming in. It's playing with fire. Definitely dangerous, but it works out. It was all a bait to get Fallen to show himself. Shiro will drop him. Hobbit, meanwhile, coming in for another. And now looking good for Gambit youngsters. They're yet to plant, and there's not a lot of time left. Axel is trapped here. The bomb going to go down. They need to move fast to get the plant. They may even have to just go for the frag. To be honest with you, they will. And they get it. It's definitely a costly round in the end. It really comes close. But Gambit youngsters keeping MIBR away from 15. That's so important.
That's so difficult also in the 1 versus 2. There's no exit policy away from that A bomb site. Once you're engaged, you pretty much have to either hide inside that corner or put your destiny in your own hands and take the firefight against 2 very ferocious Gambit youngsters members. Of course, they're able to trade that one through. 14-13 here. MIBR a short lead. If they lose this one, I think it'll be back to eco territory where they might even have to just play for overtime on this CT side. And with Axel nailing the first frag, we might be getting up close and personal here in the first map of this series. Shiro with another one that cracks open the A bomb site. I don't think MIBR can hold up the firefight here.
Yeah, not looking good, man. I feel like these remaining 2 players just got to look to save, to be honest with you. Molly coming in, it's all too late. Hobbit, it's actually Inzers on top of the smoke, but Hobbit's nade that finishes it off. And Fur will save, but 2 definitely better than 1. Regardless, Gambit youngsters up to 14. All the way down to the wire. We are going all the rounds. Overtime? Maybe. Gambit youngsters stealing it away? Looking more and more likely, actually. There's going to be no money for MIBR, and I imagine they'll be ecoing, like you say, into this one. So, yeah, really, really tough situation.
It feels like just 60 seconds ago, we were talking about MIBR closing out this map, bish, bash, bosh, foregone conclusion, and somehow this is slipping. Luckily, this is Gambit youngsters map pick, so ordinarily that is what you would expect to happen in a closely contested best of 3. Nonetheless, this should be a free opportunity onto 15. Already the mid-aggression being spotted out. They can hear all of this right now, and it'll be just like shooting fish in a barrel. The pair of T's towards this side of the map. GAMBIT youngsters don't need to do anything too touch and go, too aggressive, too crazy. Of course, just swinging onto ramp. You don't want to give away that bomb even against a couple of pistols. You never know if MIBR salvages a rifle or two. This round could have flipped on its head once again. That's Counter-Strike for you. But this is looking like a foregone conclusion. 15 to 14, definitely probable at this point. Could just be a couple of final kills to finish this one off. 99 pistols.
Yeah, nothing too unexpected. See how it goes. 15-14. Pause coming in. GAMBIT youngsters. Oh, I think both teams sweating a little bit, to be honest. MIBR still have the comfort of their map pick coming up next and all that, but I feel GAMBIT youngsters realize if they pick this one up, Dust 2 is doable. They can put a bit more pressure on themselves, perhaps. And get themselves 2-0. It's definitely not impossible. It sounds strange to say, but it really is not impossible if they're able to find Vertigo. Meanwhile, I feel MIBR, the same kind of thing comes in. They're probably spurred forward on their own map pick and a lot more comfortable there. I don't know that GAMBIT youngsters would want to take them to all three maps, right? Like, the longer you test fate, the more likely it is to work against you. So, really going to be tough. But it all comes down to this round. MIBR, the best they can hope for is overtime. We'll see whether GAMBIT youngsters can deny them that.
I feel like this is all just fallen into place for GAMBIT youngsters as well. 14 to 12 down. Looked like MIBR had all of the momentum on this CT side after a nice little chain of rounds to get us started. And then GAMBIT youngsters just come alive. It's mainly Axel finding the lion's share of the frags. Just breaking, finally, that double up setup towards the A bomb site. That's definitely high risk. It's also high reward when it pays off. This time, Fallen deprived of that all-important sniper means they have to play a more passive setup on ramp. Without the smokes away this time, it gives a lot of space for GAMBIT youngsters to get right up in your face, contest this sandbags position, and this is going to be the kingpin to try and knock out of the equation. There goes the Molotov down instantly. Found with the smoke grenade, and MIBR are just going to charge into this one. They need to find these frags right here, right now, trading evenly, 3 to 3. STRK and Taco now need to get the job done. Shiro's AWP might be able to finish this one off. Notice that the first man's fairly low, but placing the smokes down and away switches to the less favorable M4A4 instead. Now wanting to backtrack, less than 30 seconds on the board. Tick-tock, he's on the clock.
Slowly but surely moving through. Starts to make a bit more noise now. Of course, the time dwindling down. I think they're beginning to figure out that he's not on A. Has plenty of time to go. That's a great nade. It's not going to give him a lot of room to work with, though. Nice fake out. He doesn't have enough time. TRK has done enough by staying safe. That's such a shame for Shiro. Damned if you do, damned if you don't there, to be honest with you. But overtime is required. We are yet to decide a victor here on Vertigo.
That is such a beautifully played 2 versus 1 for MIBR as well. TRK just falling away on mid, knowing that he cannot find both frags there. And Shiro has a decision to make. Do I plant this bomb and probably die, as you said? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And we find ourselves in overtime in this first map. That's what the doctor ordered. 15 to 15, we see bonus rounds. It's the second time that MIBR has gone to OT today. Earlier against Forza, where they were bested 19 to 16 on Mirage. That was their map pick. Now they have to do it once again, where the stakes are a little lower on their opponent's pick of Vertigo. These first rounds are going to be massively important. I feel like MIBR did win the lion's share of their gun rounds here, and the odds have not shaken Scriv. They seem to be pretty stable here. People putting a lot of faith in the Brazilians.
Definitely seems to be the case, right? We'll see whether it pays off or not. But I think this will do MIBR some good. A nice little reset. Full money, of course. Makes them feel comfortable, and they can do things like this. Get aggressive with the AWP, with the M4s. Meanwhile, on B, Shiro taking matters into his own hands. Tech 9 in hand. Oh, that's a shame. Didn't have a weapon out to deal with KNG. Of course, the secondary AWP that they look to employ a number of times. We've seen Taco on it, KNG on it. At the moment, though, it's working out for MIBR, regardless of who has it. 3-on-2. Trying to get aggressive here. It will be successful, at least initially. Inter's now left in a 1-on-3. His position known. Does get one, but nothing else coming.
That's a key round for MIBR to win. Of course, MR3 16k. They can buy into all 3 rounds here, even if they lose the first 2. When you play with only $10,000 on that CT side, it does definitely stutter your money if you lose the first 2. 16 to 15 nonetheless. The economy is pretty much out of the picture, and that's the change of pace that we see in overtime, to be perfectly honest. What can both of these teams do with absolute full buys when the economy is totally out of the equation, out of the picture? And MIBR on their CT side did seem to win a lot of these rounds when they had Fallen pointing towards that A ramp area, that double AWP setup, whether it be Taco or KNG applying that extra pressure. This time, Taco gets aggressive for, I think, the first time this map, just holstering behind these stairs. And, well, there's the first good trigger discipline. He needs to be aware that they're coming up the ladder. He's going to spot him. 2 quick kills and damage onto the 3rd.
Looking good moving forwards here. So much damage off the back of the flames. MIBR still holding strong. Great flashes. Nafany has crept out. This is the difference maker here. Absolutely. Axile takes down KNG, but Nafany, like I say, in behind. You'd think should be able to make the difference. Fur has crept into the smoke, though. It's all over the place right now from both sides. In all honesty, so hard to call who's going to come out on top. Nafany, look at this. He's crept in, but it's... Oh, my goodness, it's so weird. They don't realize, they don't know. Fur has also crept in and could catch them off guard. But as he starts to back up, Nafany will get a freebie. Does give his position away, but it gains the man advantage for Gambit youngsters. Molly coming through. They're forced forwards, all onto TRK. Looking for all 3 here. Just to find the first. Swings out onto the second. Oh, Axile almost. If he'd have been able to reset his aim, but not going to be the case. Gambit youngsters up to 16.
Massively important round here. You don't want to go 3-0 down, even on your T side, especially on a map like Vertigo, where you probably should be taking the lion round of those terrorist rounds. 16 to 16 nonetheless. Double AWP setup back into the equation for MIBR. It's KNG once again on that second sniper. A lot of the time, they've been playing this weird double AWP setup on the A bomb site. But with the smokes going down in a way, that will deprive Fallen of that initial visual control. And MIBR are actually playing a much more standard setup here. They were actually just 2 players on B, but yeah, once again, 4 towards A. TRK stuck behind the sandbags. This has been consistently Molotoved off from Gambit youngsters. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that firebomb come through once again, and here comes the aggression from MIBR. Didn't work out for them last time. Fallen's all up close and personal. Does pretty much do the trick. Leaves Axel's AWP all alone. Not usually famed for this particular weapon. Up against MIBR here. Down on his luck. He's lost all of his teammates around him. And he needs an absolute miracle to get away with this one. MIBR a short lead before we go into our second half of OT.
Time will tell whether it's enough. Time is starting to get on here on Vertigo. It does, to me, feel like MIBR have a bit more control. We also saw a great deal of strength from Gambit youngsters on the T side of things. So the fact that that doesn't continue into overtime is a little worrisome, I would argue. But we'll see. We'll see. There's still time, right? And of course, once again, going on to that CT side, having the nullified economy worries really does change things. They don't move towards the double up setup, though. So it'll be interesting to see what they opt to move for, whether they try and get aggressive in the same way that MIBR did early on in the round, or whether they rest a bit passively. MIBR, though, we saw some really fast and aggressive stuff from them on their T side as well in regulation. So whether we see that again is another question, but it was kind of successful. So I'd be surprised if at the very least one of these rounds isn't a quick B push.
It's back to basics. Bit of a default here with Taco once again on the lurk. And MIBR trying to put pressure towards the pointy ladder. YNG is going to be the initial aggressive prod and prompt as he gets ripped out of the server. That's a lovely headshot from Hobbit. Big question is, does he sit behind these sandbags, especially without a smoke grenade? Instead, he goes down early. And that levels up the playing field into a 4 versus 4. The key point here for MIBR is with Taco towards the B bomb site here, it does open the door for them to reverse, and head back towards his position. But he's going to curl inside instead as the all-important Molotov, just to check out that angle, just to ensure that there's nobody sneakily hidden towards the sandbags. You never know in OT if you're going to put 2 players towards that side of the map. Can be overlooked once you've spotted out and fragged Hobbit. This is a good angle from Nafany, but I'm sure MIBR will be looking towards this scaffolding. And there comes the second prompt. Inter's able to drop that bomb. That's the game given away. 30 seconds left, and MIBR out of options. They have to engage into this A bomb site.
Well, it's not looking too good. Fallen does manage to trade another one back, looking for a little more, perhaps. 10 seconds. Gambit youngsters, well, the smokes have come in. If they can find a stray bullet over the top, it's just not going to be the case, though. Looking to try and get aggressive. Oh, and they're just waiting on the other side of the smokes here. 3-on-3, TRK left low. Nafany also tagged up, so totally, I mean, up in the air, to be honest. Doable for both sides. Kits available. Time is of the essence. Tap coming in onto the bomb. Fallen to find the first. The molly to follow up to keep them away. And, well, it's not looking too good. All going to be down to Nafany here. 1-on-2. And there's just no information for him to work with. The time too far ticked. He had to go for something. Not going to happen. Taco takes him down. And the first team to hit map point will be MIBR.
So a little bit of squid analysis about that one. With 5 seconds left on the board, Gambit youngsters decide to not push in and try and prevent that bomb from going down. If Taco drops on that A bomb site, it's round over for MIBR. There's no way that they're finding all 3 frags. And that's a mistake that we saw MIBR not make earlier on, where Shiro on the B bomb site, if you remember it, he was challenged in a 2 versus 1. Before that C4 went down, it's an instant round to MIBR. Gambit youngsters just making the littlest mistake, which might prove incredibly costly. MIBR, it's map point on Vertigo. And they've got Dust too. They picked it for a reason. Coming up next, and with 90 seconds left, they do lose the first. It's KNG once again dropping towards A. They've still got lots of options on the table. What are they going to select? I guess this is going to be an A take again. It's been routinely working out for them.
Indeed, like you said way back when, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we'll see. This time around, going to be a bit harder for them. Well, yeah.
I think
indeed,
I say that about once a day, at least.
Yeah, that's fair. It's quite a good one, though, you know? It's quite a good one, to be honest.
As they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, there you go. Fallen misses out the opportunity. Molly and a nade, though, clears out the angle. 30 seconds left. MIBR once again winding the clock down, but coming from behind, going to be hard for them, I think. Smoke's going in. Bomb is actually not here on B, by the way. So this is all a dupe, it appears. Fallen, I mean, if he gets a kill, this would be pretty good. Oh, he gets a leg. That's a shame. But the rest of the boys walk into an open A bomb site, or so they think. Hobbit is here pretty damn quickly. Needs to be winning this fight. He almost does. There you go. Finds it eventually. Looking for a bit more. Not going to happen for him, but it happens for Nafany. Meanwhile, Taco, the 1-on-5 required. And no, does not happen.
No,
18,
no.
17.
Wow. Double overtime definitely on the cards at this point.
Yep.
Gambit youngsters just one away from taking us to bonus rounds once again. MIBR, of course, with 16k in your back pocket here in the second half of overtime, will be able to get out a bye for the third and final round despite losing 2 in a row right there. Of course, Gambit youngsters now towards the double AWP setup. This is a configuration that we haven't seen a hell of a lot from them. Axel being that secondary sniper. We saw him try and get it out on the T side once or twice. Usually it's Shiro to bail them out of trouble. This time MIBR, they're going to switch up the pace to try and end this one. Thur comes through with the first frag.
Need a few more than that though. KNG has another. Nafany on the double. Oh, denied for the third. So much damage has been done here. It could definitely sway. They've got time to get this bomb down. Of course, the rotator's moving through from the B bomb site. Nade to drop TRK. Oh, the pressure gets to him. It's such a classic move, especially with that angle, right? You plant, you move back. They've got plenty of time. Could have been able to bait the nades out pretty simply, but like I say, panic results in a lapse in judgment, a lapse in concentration, and now makes the round much more doable for Gambit youngsters. Flash coming in, the plant this time successful, but Fallen is so low. Where can he go? He has to go forwards. Finds the head of Inters. Axel now left to clutch it out. Takes down the first. Taco should be able to play the bomb, but of course a kit available. Taco doesn't know that he's gone off it, or maybe he does, and Taco comes around the side. That's so well read. 19-17. MIBR gonna take it just about by the skin of their teeth. The overtime required, but they do steal away Gambit youngsters map pick and also a map that they themselves are not too confident at. So I feel like they can be actually really, really happy with that.
Yeah, I think they're going to be absolutely chuffed to pieces. That definitely looked on the rocks for quite some time. Actually able to just finish it off there in OT. Great T side. It felt like Taco did a lot of work upon a ramp, and that fast bulldozer-ish style does it again for MIBR. Just finding all of those quick openings, fast speed, aggression, momentum, power, all of the keywords, and really just rolling it over the top when they switched up the speed. Not pushing the brakes. That seemed to be the issue for their T side and regulation as well. And you see the heavy hitters, both of the star AWPers on both sides, making an emergence at the top of the tables. It's Fallen and Shiro, 32 and 35 kills apiece. That's quite something.
Yeah, both looking really, really good, man. And it's exciting to see, especially because we're going into Dust 2, right? AWPers Playground. And both the AWPers are popping off. But of course, like I say, we've got one more map on the cards, maybe even 2 more on the cards. So you'll be wanting to stick around for a while here. It's really going to heat up on Dust 2. This is where it should be even more even. And I mean, we just went to overtime. So like, what more does this series have to give? There's an awful lot. I can tell you that. We'll see you after the break. welcome back. More Malta vibes, of course. MIBR up against Gambit Youngsters. You've already watched the first map, of course. But if you are just joining us, just to highlight, it went to overtime. It was a pretty damn close showing over on Vertigo. Gambit Youngsters map pick, typically not a great map for MIBR. And yet MIBR are able to take it over the line. So, coming into Dust 2, things are not looking good for the Youngsters.
No, not looking good whatsoever. That was their map pick. They did have opportunities to close, not just in OT, but also regulation. They had a 14-12 lead over MIBR. And, or I guess MIBR actually did have the lead, but then they started clawing it back, finding map point first. And MIBR just clinging on to that first map of the day, obviously wanting to head to bed early.
Kind of looks that way. But yeah, definitely a close one. MIBR having a bit of luck and unluck go their way. Same for Gambit Youngsters, right? There was that 4-on-2 I seem to remember that I think really could have swayed the game, and just not enough time for Gambit Youngsters, and some close clutches. One for Shiro where he had like 4 seconds left to plant the bomb and then ran out of time because he had to go for a frag. Really, really close stuff, exciting stuff that I feel Vertigo can lead to more often than not, to be honest, just because of the nature of it being close quarters and so fast and so aggressive. But yeah, look, as we see the scores of individual players come up here, the AWPers really chiming in. MIBR, not just Fallen, but also their double AWP setup with KNG, Taco. It kind of changed hands a few times, but either way, their double AWP setup was pretty solid. Gambit Youngsters not going for that as much, maybe because of this recent addition, new in-game leader, blah, blah, blah. They're not really wanting to do it. But coming into Dust 2, if their AWPers are looking good, once again, we're probably in for an exciting time. So I'm really looking forward to moving into this.
Yeah, me too. And while we know that Dust 2 is very AWP-heavy territory here, Scriv, I guess we're expecting Fallen to pop off once again. Definitely the opportunity for a double AWP setup. Maybe Taco being just the anchor once again. They entrust on that solo bomb site. Throughout pretty much the majority of Vertigo, he was pretty much solo holding B, all on his lonesome. The rotates were millions of miles away, putting a lot of trust in him as well. And Taco is that kind of consistent anchor that you can always sort of rely on to get a kill or two, if not just delay the T side. Didn't have an overwhelming amount of success over by B. As soon as he had the support from Fur, that site seemed a lot more sturdy for MIBR. I want to see how they adjust going on to Dust 2, though. I guess that you'll be putting Fallen towards the middle of the map. You're always looking for him to pick up those opening frags. And I would say if it wasn't for his AWPing towards a ramp a lot of the time, MIBR were getting blown out of the water at one point. It was really that change of pace that came with the double AWP setup that really was the difference maker for them. Well, enough chit-chat for this one. We're getting into the knife round right now on map 2. We're going to Dust 2, Screv.
Here we go. Whoa, what is this? What is this? It's normally at long.
Oh no, they're off script.
I know.
They're completely.
Like, what the hell?
They're blowing us out of the water.
Yeah, the simulation is broken down. I just don't know what to say.
You're just lost for words.
Honestly though, like, why are they going mid? I don't understand. I feel like one team could maybe go mid. They must have communicated that. I don't know. Yo guys, let's start a new trend. Go mid for the knife. It's actually faster. Do you know what I mean? I feel like maybe one team decides to go mid for some kind of a tactical advantage. The other one ends up at long, but they both went there. So
maybe Gambit Youngsters had a little trick up their sleeve right there. Deciding, right, we've got a great mid knife strat. We're going to throw it into place. Wow, these odds. Pretty close. With the Gambit Youngsters, I guess, being the short favorites coming into this one. And this isn't even their map pick, so maybe shows that the bettors at least think that MIBR have made a little bit of a mistake selecting Dust 2 getting into this one. I can say that for me, it's definitely a bit of a question mark. We see MIBR routinely play Dust. We also see Gambit play Dust just a hell of a lot of the time. It's not alien to be their pick, their third map, one that they're incredibly comfortable on. But here in the pistol, an early trade.
Yeah, not sure that that aggression was necessary, if I'm honest. Facilitated by the first frag, I suppose they can go for a bit more, but kind of greed coming in and really deciding their fate with that one brings it back into an even scenario now for MIBR. Still got that utility available, grouping up towards long as they look to indeed get onto the A site. Taking it nice and slow though. Axel, the man who's already found a frag for Gambit Youngsters, is going to be the man to hold things down initially. They'll look for a bit more. Gets the damage onto Taco, able to finish him off as well. Axel looking so good on the USP. Will eventually fall. Ooh, KNG with a quick flick onto Shiro, looking for his third. Already brought it even. Creates the room for Fur. It's all going to be onto Inters, and he can't get it done. Fur and KNG, the absolute beasts of that round. MIBR will take the pistol.
That's an awkward round for the Brazilians as well. They were completely outmaneuvered on the A bomb site with Inters towards the lower B tons. He had all of the information that MIBR were not gesturing towards the B bomb site, knowing that Taco was all on his lonesome, and MIBR just heading into A, winning those gunfights, KNG being their hero. And we didn't see it on our screens, but I'm sure that was quite the sensational shot from Axel to get us started.
Oh, whoopsie daisy from KNG. I don't think he meant to do that, but all the same. Nades end up where they need to go. No harm, no foul. He doesn't get caught or anything like that. Ooh, nice nade coming in. Meanwhile, Axel with another crazy shot to take down Fallen. Really looking good. As Gambit Youngsters are fighting back pretty readily. 5-on-4. MIBR kind of panicked. Minute left on the clock. Looking to move in towards A via short, I suppose. But there's the vast majority of the players here. They were ready and waiting above the smoke, though. That's back into an even scenario. So looking a lot more doable. Inters begins to close the gap. Trying to find himself a cheeky heady or two with this Deagle. A couple players with nades in hand. TRK again reading him like a book. And it looks like they might just be able to get themselves through this. Nafany also can't get it done. TRK having a hell of a round. 3k for him. Ace on the cards. If he keeps playing like this, maybe Will. KNG, though, gets in his way. Denies it away. But all the same, MIBR string their second together.
TRK does seem to be the king of the 3k. We've seen him open up many a bomb site here, not just in this series, but also in the matchup earlier against Forza, namely on Mirage, where he was the big star player on that T side. He's a player who has had a couple of squabbles and fumbles here on MIBR. Maybe not finding his place as earlier than he would have liked, but he does seem to be coming into his own in some of these online matches. 3 quick kills right there, and that's exactly what you want to do against the pistols. Forces Gambit Youngsters now into a fairly full eco. I can't see much investment coming out. Maybe just a flashbang or a smoke here or there, but the investment will be absolutely minimal. Ground level stuff for the slight favorites, supposedly, according to our loot betters out in this one. I'm not sure I agree with them, to be perfectly honest. I know that MIBR have had a couple of stumbles as of late, but I would actually slightly favor them here on this second map as well. First 2 rounds being quite powerful. It looks like the USPSs are about to swarm into this MAC-10.
Yeah, money going to be made, surely. Does get a couple, but dropped quickly. MAC-10 for Inters, oh boy. Meanwhile, the bomb making its way over towards the A site, of course. Going how we expect it, relatively slow stuff, a bit of an anticlimactic end, I suppose. Unless KNG, well, he's going to find a frag, a second, perhaps. It looks like it. No, first steals them away, of course. Lots of robbing being done in the past couple of rounds by MIBR players to other MIBR players, but all the same, 3 on the board. Conventional stuff after the pistol. Moving into the rifle, this is where we start to raise a few questions here and there. Orps out for both sides. Let's get real spicy.
Nothing funny about that. More Robin Hood than Robin Williams. 3-0 on the board. And MIBR, this is a good start on their T side. You see the adjustment from Gambit youngsters, placing nobody towards the middle of the map. Usually you'd expect maybe Shiro's AWP to be challenging through those double doors. Obviously doesn't want to find Fallen here. He's got an AWP as well on this T side. As the wholesome buy comes through from MIBR. I like that they stacked Taco into B-Tons. It allows them to get a lot of information in that third round where you are just against unarmored pistols. Rack up a little bit of cash, and as he loses the MAC-10, they can shrug that one away, knowing he needs an AK for this opening rifle round. See that the money is actually stretched fairly thin here for Gambit youngsters. Shiro with absolutely no utility. Inter's just getting rid of that final HE, doing pretty negligible damage there. And with 50 seconds left, MIBR will now start to apply the pressure as this utility is running really thin for Gambit youngsters.
Ooh, Shiro trained on the angle. Manages to find the first. Need to be dealing with him better than that. Gets a second as well. KNG's found a frag, but it might just be to no avail. 30 seconds left. Shiro's still alive, still trained. KNG dealing with the rotators soundly, but Shiro keeps on fragging. Third coming in for him. 3 on 2. Wow, spinning around to take down Fur as well. My goodness, Shiro's just had a hell of a round. You do have to look to MIBR, though. Not to take away, right? It's definitely hype. It's real big from him. But you definitely have to look to MIBR and say, where are your smokes, where are your flashes to get him off of that angle? Sure, he finds 1, but finding 4 is a little ridiculous.
And that is the big question, right? MIBR had such a utility advantage peeking into that A bomb site, and there was absolutely nothing in the way of flashes or smokes to counterweigh that position for Shiro. Finding 4 kills, coming in with a slammer, the big quadruple whopper. There's nothing on the Burger King menu big enough to describe that one. And here in round number 5, he obviously still has the AWP in hand, so the opportunity to do it once again. Maybe a man to avoid for MIBR here. I think that Fallen will try and give it a good go. You can actually see that he isn't holstering the AWP in this one. Instead, with the AK, allowing KNG to do the heavy lifting with that sniper rifle, as he's just entrusted to hold this B-bomb site angle, waiting for the mistakes from Gambit youngsters. They'll, of course, not come through, Scriv. They're a very well-versed team. They won't be making massive blunders on the B-bomb site, especially with this Nafany-Hobbit combination. Nobody should be getting too out of line here. Just allowing a pretty standard approach to come through. That's a massive nade. Doesn't do as much damage as I thought. But there's to spray through the smoke to convert.
And the 2-man hold as well. Going to be absolutely huge. I'm not sure they're ready for this. Great crossfire coming in. Nafany and Hobbit all chiming in. Beautiful stuff from Gambit youngsters. Fallen left on his lonesome. Can't find anything. A different approach from Gambit youngsters. Not within this game, but from what I saw from them earlier, they were really confident, leaving Hobbit pretty much alone on B. Against MIBR, at least so far, not the case. They want to put as much pressure as they can on that B-bomb site, and well, rightly so. It secures them their second round, and once the rifles have come into play, they've looked pretty damn good here.
Yeah, usually a T side on Dust 2 will throw in fairly abusive setups towards the B-bomb site. Perhaps with the CTs low on economy, they would go towards that side of the map, or only seeing 1 on the cross. For Gambit youngsters, they have to ensure that they put that mid-smoke down every single time. That tickles a little bit of money away from your economy, but it's nothing really to worry about. It deprives MIBR of that mid-information and allows you on the CT side to go for a pretty disguised and incognito setup. 1 minute 20 here. Just the pistols for the Brazilians, as I guess they're gunning for 1 to 2 frags. Just trying to do some economical damage after Gambit youngsters lose absolutely nobody there in round number 5. Guess the opportunity to nail this one through back to back as the crossfire comes in from mid. Very well contained.
Secured in the end, nice and easy. This is where pressure very quickly onto MIBR, I feel. Their map pick Gambit youngsters looking good. MIBR once again running into a bit of a brick wall. And I feel, well, they maybe don't want to tempt fate again. You know, the close overtime victory, it's hard to rely on that 2 maps in a row. And Inferno has been rough. That's putting it lightly. They have not had a good time at the top end, towards the bottom end of the tiers of Counter-Strike. Really not been doing well on Inferno for MIBR, so I think they, well, would probably do well to stay away from it, to be honest.
Well, this is a technical. I guess we have to see if Gambit Youngsters' CT side is going to pay dividends once again. Earlier, they were able to find 12 out of 15 of these CT rounds in that final map against Hellraisers. That's obviously a very powerful result. Against MIBR, it's a different competition. I think they'll be more challenged when they go over to their T side here. But obviously, a big double-digit half is always going to be favorable. Even if Gambit Youngsters can get 8, 9, or 10 on the board, I think they'll be happy with any of those score lines. Combine that with a pistol and you've got a good lead. Still very early days in this second map, though. As this technical pause dragging on for a couple more moments. You want all of the conditions to be perfect, right? This is quite a big series for both of these teams. I guess for MIBR, like, community-wise, it's a bit of a lose-lose situation coming into a matchup like this. If you win it, nobody's going to give you a whole lot of credit. MIBR, just because of their history and their tenure, all of the majors and trophies that they've won, they set the bar so high for themselves that if you trickle down even a little bit lower than that, you're always going to just be rampant for criticism. And it's unfair in some senses. You can't expect that level of performance over multiple years, 4, 5 years. You always see the drop-off of these dominant forces. And once upon a time, this core was the dominant force in the scene, but that was quite a long time ago. You have to dig into the history books to find dominant MIBR performances or this core performance. Right here, as I said, they're not going to get a whole load of credit if they win this specific series. They've got to win the tournament before people don't turn their noses up at the results. But me and you know, Scriv, that this is a big series for them. Gambit Youngsters are not just pushover opposition. This is quite a tightly contested series, all things considered. And that's best exemplified by that first map, which went to OT.
Yeah, absolutely, man. These two teams, like, it's a lot to prove in different ways. I think you highlight it very well. Gambit Youngsters, the clues in the name, and MIBR have so much history behind them that something like this is sort of expected, but then also not, like you say. Early tag coming in onto Taco, though, as the speed being employed here. Nice stuff. Oh, I thought he found that frag, but no. Axile bailing his mate out at the very last second. Shiro is left on 16 HP now, but it's an early advantage for MIBR to recover back from. Not looking too good. And it happens so fast as well. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really, really hard.
Oh, quick kill completely opens up the B bomb site. KNG doing the heavy lifting towards this side of the map. There's a fast flank from Nafni in progress, and he needs to hit the secondary headshot. Oh, he's going to do it. What a conversion. That completely clears out this side of the map. And MIBR, they're still trailing towards the A bomb site. How are Gambit Youngsters going to read this one successfully? Yes, they still have Axel on the approach, but he needs to go crazy with the headshots. And do MIBR believe that they forced the defense away? They haven't. Nevertheless, it's fallen to do the damage. Quick kill. And Gambit Youngsters seriously need to be considering saving now. That would be my favorite option. Even with the money in quite a robust state, a shot missed gives away their position. And now MIBR know that these two players are going for a save. It's not going to be the secret of the century. Nevertheless, two Ts trying to trail into their position. They know exactly where these pair of players are holding from. Inters needs to rotate his way out of trouble once again. Most importantly, Scriv, they need to keep this Shiro AWP alive. Obviously, they get a bye into round number 8, whatever happens. But dropping this AWP, he needs to buy up another $7,000 worth of equipment. in the next, and that's not going to be forced through as MIBR, they've not got a lot of money themselves. They don't want to throw away all 3 rifles in this one. I do want to make one more point as well. This shouldn't be Gambit youngsters. They should remove the youngsters. This squad is good enough to just be a solid Gambit.
Yeah, it's definitely hard, isn't it, to know whether the players want to keep it or not. Of course, shout out to Hellcase there coming up as you see those 2 codes supporting us the whole way through here. We've got a cup and a half left, I suppose, to go with their support. Shout out to them for that. But Malta V 15, extra cash and 15% refill bonus for you guys as well. Back into the action, though. I would like to highlight just quickly KNG, although not the highest fragger on Vertigo, I feel like had massive impact, and it continues here into Dust 2. Nafany, oh, going to miss the shot on that secondary AWP. That was the change from Gambit youngsters into this round. KNG sees the corner of a head, and he's able to take it off. Inter's tried. He can't stop them. I think the save going to come in. Despite Shiro finding a frag, they've already kind of committed to it here. It'll be a 5th for MIBR.
And the unfortunate factor is there, Gambit youngsters have no idea how much damage they were able to deal through the smoke. TRK, 9 HP, Fallen not much better on 13. This was actually a slightly doable retake over on the B bomb site. I guess they're strapped for utility. And as they continue to hemorrhage rounds, they're going to be strapped for cash. Obviously, a buy coming through in the next, considering they're able to save 3 rifles here. And this is where we'll see the change of pace for MIBR. After they win this one convincingly, they'll start going for fairly aggressive hunts. If they go towards the B-bomb site once again, obviously MIBR know that they haven't completely broken the buy after that 3-round streak, fairly convincingly done as well from Gambit youngsters. It's back on the board for MIBR, and now this is an opportunity to level out the cash on the CT side. You see, Shiro and Axel still have a little bit of a bank to play with, but nobody else really sitting pretty on that $4,000 mark where you really have to be if you want back-to-back buys.
Yeah, difficult times ahead for sure. Aggression coming in from MIBR towards long. Lots of utility, speed being employed, but it's so far unsuccessful. Shiro is nuts, by the way. 4 on 3 now for MIBR to recover back from once again. Shiro is nuts, by the way. Looking for more. And maybe biting off a bit more than he could chew. He's lost his teammate, and yeah, not going to get too greedy for it. But a 3 on 2 with low HP on Fallen, this should certainly be doable. Hobbit is in position to cut off the rotation as well. So looking pretty likely for Gambit youngsters to find themselves that all-important 4th round.
In the UK, we say golly gosh when we see things like that. Hobbit might be able to just finish them off clean here. Fallen is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Needs their headshot. Instead, just a spray away conversion. I don't know if this is going to give him a pathway out, or maybe even goes for the 1 versus 2. Really not sure here. Doesn't have much of a chance. I don't believe for a second that he's able to pull this one through. And there's a shoulder. Doesn't convert. Now wants to trailblaze down mid. The Globetrotter here trying to make his way to the B bomb site. Spots out both of the CTs there. And there's the smoke grenade to ensure his pursuit onto the B bomb site. It's badly placed, and there's the angle open. A 4th for Gambit youngsters. Looks secured for quite some time, but you never really know with Fallen.
Yeah, you never really know. He had a few crazy rounds on Vertigo for sure, right? So much. And of course, the all clutch on overpass is a classic moment.
Wait, the clutch from like 4 years ago, or the clutch?
Oh yeah. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying. You know,
that is a good clutch.
It is a classic from the boy.
The boy.
You know? Yeah, man. He's what, the Godfather of Brazilian Counter-Strike? Is that his nickname title?
That's his official title by Dpol.
Yeah? Well, it's a pretty good one, to be fair.
Better than my title. The not-so-honourable Squid.
I've not got any me, mate. So it's one better than me, at least. The titleless Scriv, that's what they call me.
Well, with the beard, you could be the caveman of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, maybe. Something like that, right? I'll find something. Or something with eyebrows. I got big eyebrows, too.
They could call you the Google Chrome. Best eyebrows right there.
That's not bad, to be fair.
That is a dad joke.
Well, you know, every now and then they hit the spot, you know. They can be you can appreciate them for what they are, you know. It's like watching an action film or whatever. The story's super predictable, but so long as the bits you want to be good are good, then I think you're happy. Either way, 55 seconds left. It's been a quiet start, but MIBR looking to change that. The burst coming in. They can't deal with Shiro, so they've decided to smoke him off. Inters is now the problem. Shiro will fall. It's back into a 4-on-4. Fur as well, trying to play it patient along, but Axel seems to be more patient than he. Dicking around. Eventually has to make a move, though, and I feel, yeah, Fur, if he just sits and waits, he could make all the difference with this flank from long. Axel's got to go. Axel takes the angle on him, and Fur actually wins that. Meanwhile, over at short, it's going the way of GAMBIT youngsters, and pretty heavily. 3-on-2 coming in. An isolated player in the form of TRK on the site itself. This is looking good. They've got kits available. They've got a good amount of nadage as well, but they don't want to be using it. Great flash over the top. TRK finds one. Meanwhile, Fur will drop inters. It's all going to be down to Hobbit. 1 versus 2. There's just not enough time. He runs out of ammo. Finds that frag with the USP, but he can't get it done. Fur even rubbing salt in the wound to take him down. MIBR, though, with a key round to hold on to their lead.
MIBR creating chaos on that A bomb site. You saw that fight towards long. A zen-like state for Fur just to hold it for such a long amount of time. He must have been behind those double doors for at least a minute. The bomb had been down for 10 seconds plus before Axel takes the angle, loses his life, and we see another tactical timeout from GAMBIT youngsters as a response. It's all falling apart at the seams on their CT side. They're back into eco territory. I guess you cannot force buy at this point, considering they do have enough money to go for the investment if the 12th, if they save. This is where things get a little bit shaky for them. I said earlier they were able to find 12 rounds on their CT side against Hellraisers. They're playing against very different opposition here in the form of the Brazilian squadron, including the godfather of Counter-Strikers. We haven't branded him. I can't claim that one myself. I think they've been calling him that for at least 3 years now.
Yeah, at least. Maybe a bit more. I don't know. Tough to tell. Tough to tell, you know. Kaboom Esports, my guy. Huge.
Well, he has grown the whole Brazilian scene. I won't say single-handedly, but without Fallen, like, the Brazilian scene would be a very, very different place. And you see that the support that they give to the lower tier teams as well in the region, like the whole academy system that they had in place. So despite the little scuffles here and there, you can tell why he's so loved in the scene.
Looking good in this round then, Squid, as the 7th, as we expected, going to be coming onto the board. It was an A-stack play from GAMBIT youngsters. And MIBR went B. So there you go, just the 1 frag coming in. Obviously a lot of downtime here as they try and look for some cheeky exits. Fallen takes a tag. Fear also left low, so they do need to be careful here, in all fairness. I think Fallen's going to fall. To be honest, yeah, he will indeed live up to his namesake. He is now Fallen. Hey. Either way, that's the only kill that GAMBIT youngsters are able to find. MIBR moving up to 7, looking nice and comfortable here on the T side. GAMBIT youngsters in this tough spot where it's like they need to be finding rounds, getting some money going, being competitive, because MIBR are at the turning point of this first half where they could hit the double digits early. They could bring it to 11 even. GAMBIT youngsters really have that pressure on their shoulders now.
Certainly, the onus is on them to get to 7, get to 8. close up this first half. Otherwise, it could very easily be an MIBR 2-0 right here. And maybe the Brazilians spotting some sort of issue with the Gambit youngsters' defense. I don't know why they would have picked this map otherwise. Of course, they had the opportunity to watch Gambit on Dust 2 before that veto actually took place in that other elimination match. So maybe spotting out exploits. And realistically, how much preparation has MIBR come into a series like this with? I can guarantee it's probably not too much, apart from maybe just watching that series live on the stream before. Certainly wouldn't surprise me. So maybe that's where the anti-stratting has come from, saying, right, we don't want to play an unknown team on alien territory and get completely caught out of our depths. We want to see them play a whole map against Hellraisers, spot their tendencies. We know how good Fallen is at picking apart a CT side, especially finding those gaps in the defense, and that seems to be happening once again for the captain.
Oh, Shiro, though, continues to look dangerous. Inter's also surviving. Shiro still not dealt with, and he doesn't miss. If you give him the opportunities, he doesn't miss. That's his third. That's like a deja vu moment. He's done that before from that angle. Fer the only one to find a frag, and he quickly drops after the fact. So 5th round for Gambit youngsters secured just like that. They will move into the next round pretty healthy as well, not really dropping too many players at all. So very good stuff. Meanwhile, MIBR, bit awkward from a financial standpoint.
Lovely job, late. 7-5, and a nice convincing lead, I would say, for MIBR. If they can pick together 1 or 2 more before this half comes to a close, they'll be in a great stance on this CT side to try and finish this one off 2-0. And realistically, what do they do in this round? Of course, they've got enough for a buy. Fallen is a little light on cash. I guess Fer has to plump for the pistol as well. Well, that MAC-10 in play, the Deagle, the Galil also. This isn't going to be a flawless buy from MIBR, to say the least. And maybe they decide to hunker down and do something more aggressive here. Playing safety in numbers instead of safety in weaponry. Gambit youngsters just playing quite the default defense. A 2-1-1, or a 3-1-1, I should say. Doesn't really add up. Earn your formations. With Nafany just edging towards mid. Not going to be challenged in the offset of this one as MIBR crawl their way down to execute onto what does look to be maybe even a B split, with Fer just holding the rear with the Deagle. He's not going to have a massive effect if he's hidden within the pack. And I like this from MIBR. They keep all of the options open. They've got a little bit of control outside of A-Long. You want to see Fer maybe hold that angle for a little longer if they weren't going to throw in the execute right here, right now. And this is the classic B split. A lot of pressure on Taco to try and negotiate his way around this smoke. And he's going to place one of his own to edge his way onto this B bomb site. There's the flashbang as well. The kills come through. Hobbit, nice maneuvering around those smokes there to get himself right out of harm's way, and the Deagle's only able to find one. Taco versus the world, a 1 versus 3. One that I really don't think he's got much of a chance to achieve.
Yeah, Galil in hand. No utility. Knows vaguely where a couple of them are, but not as much information as he would like. Whoa, and Hobbit gets the better of him. Super speedy stuff from Hobbit, looking so good throughout that round. The 6th coming in for Gambit youngsters as they bring it within 1. And a lack of a bomb plant, a lack of loss bonus for MIBR means, of course, that they will have to eco this out. So Gambit youngsters should very quickly be able to even things up. 7 rounds definitely on the horizon. And we'll see whether they're able to go further than that. MIBR were looking good, but have let it slip somewhat towards the tail end of this first half. Shiro has been a part of that downfall, in all honesty. They have not dealt with him very well at all from the short angles and whatnot. Comes into this round to show his face as well around that smoke.
I've got to say, you were talking about deja vu a little earlier in the form of the Shiro AWP on the A bomb site, but this whole map looks like almost a mirror image of Vertigo, with MIBR short lead, GAMBIT a couple of rounds before the end of the half, but maybe not quite enough. If we follow the same storyline as before, we might be here all night, but MIBR just a good opportunity right now. Maybe not in this round, but in the 15th, certainly, to get rifles back in hand, to try and steal away an 8th. Yes, GAMBIT youngsters are looking quite convincing. They seem to have found their footing on the defensive setup, but with the half coming to an end, they've got to now get comfy on the T side in a couple of moments' time. Right behind this 15th and final round of the half, it's going to be a 5 AK-47 setup for MIBR, perhaps something a little quicker without the AWP in hand. We've not seen them go towards long incredibly quickly. We've also not seen a B rush here, Scriv. Really just wonder what they're going to try and achieve in this one. Fallen just diving out, assisted by the flashes to try and take this control. There's an opening headshot and almost a second try to trailblaze through this smoke. Doesn't do any damage, but GAMBIT youngsters still getting pounded to start things off.
Really smart stuff, the way that he approaches that, you know, playing around that smoke instead of just continuing to push forwards, waiting for them to come to him. Really good stuff. TRK, getting blinded up. Hobbit looking good here on the B-bomb site once again. Staying alive in and of itself is an achievement, but he finds a number of frags. Fallen and Fur very quickly bringing it back in their favor, though. Shiro is full HP, he's trapped towards middle, can't find Fallen. Fur at the same time will take down Hobbit. And the two of them make magic for MIBR. The 8th round coming in as they will just edge out the lead into half two.
Yeah, I think that half is probably good enough. As I said before, pretty much on repeat at this point, GAMBIT youngsters took 12 against Hellraisers, and it wasn't the most convincing map ever to try and close it out. Still a 16-9 nonetheless. Their T side commonly a little shakier. We'll see if MIBR can actually abuse that setup and now expect the double AWPs to come through. Here are those odds, still as close as we got started with. GAMBIT youngsters, I guess they were very short favorites coming into this one. I think it was 0.8385. Right now, MIBR just as close, but very slight favorites here in the second half. Pistol.
YNG.
Round.
Yeah, this is a big key round, to be honest with you. Getting aggressive up short. Flash coming in as well. A well-timed peek. They're kind of on top of each other here, but it ends up working out. Fur in with 2. TRK finds 1 before falling. And it's all left down to Inters. Fur having another great pistol round to kick us off. We'll see whether Inters can get it done. Not looking too likely in all honesty. The bomb miles away. They know where he is. And Taco will take his head clean off over the smoke. 9th round in for MIBR. Off to a cracking start to CT side.
That's exactly what you want. Puts GAMBIT youngsters on the back foot. And I really don't think they can force buy into this one. You see Axel actually picking up, well, a full force right now. And I probably wouldn't favor this. If you get the bomb down, go for the full force with a couple of rifles. If not, I definitely prefer a full eco here. Yes, you're allowing MIBR onto 10, but you get rifles in hand and really a better buy than MIBR. They'd be forced onto a bonus in round number 18. Nevertheless, can't talk about it. GAMBIT youngsters have gone for the force up instead. That puts a lot of pressure on this 17th, where they have to win it. Otherwise, it'll be the Brazilians up to 10, therefore 11 against the full pistols in the next. This really is a potential turning point for GAMBIT youngsters and the series as a whole. YNG right behind this dissipating smoke, gonna spot out a hand, and that's both of the pistols crumbling.
Yeah, not looking good at all. I mean, kind of has to be expected, but it would be nice for them to do some damage. Just not happening. As Axel the only one left. There's some low HP bars. He definitely could find a kill or two. Nice bit of movement up there, and he drops Fur. Smooth as you like. Oh, but TRK catches him going for the M4. Really well timed by TRK. And pretty clean stuff from MIBR to get the 10th. Looking nice, getting that strong lead, building up the cash, all that good stuff going their way here at the beginning of the CT side, which is really not what GAMBIT youngsters wanted.
You can say that again. Stuck in a really difficult position right now. That aforementioned full eco here on the 18th should be an easy opportunity onto 11 for MIBR. Don't want to count the chickens before they're hatched and get complacent in this series, but it feels like MIBR are playing just their same solid game of Counter-Strike as we're just used to seeing over a number of years. Not getting complacent against this particular roster right now. They know what danger GAMBIT youngsters can pose. And with Taco just getting nice and aggressive, 2 quick kills, that's good enough there with the MP9 to farm a little bit of cash.
What you like to see. MP9 pays for itself, just about. We'll slow things down as they look to attempt to get the bomb down, it looks like. I mean, a couple of recovered flashbangs and whatnot that they can make work. However, TRK is in a great spot. Not landing the shots, though, and he will get taken down. Shiro, sure traded back, but happy with the fact that he's gotten himself some extra money. Nafany going to find Fur. This is suddenly becoming very costly for the CT side, I have to be honest, considering we've got the buy coming up in the next round, regardless for GAMBIT youngsters. Now they've got extra cash thanks to the bomb plant. Round's going to be over here, I think, because all Fallen has to do is get on the bomb. They don't know that Nafany is below, so I guess they don't realize that it's over. If he finds... Okay, he's not even going to go for it. They will get the defuse. Nafany looking for more frags, has taken the M4, found another kill, and he gets away with it. 4 kills and a bomb plant off the back of a few P250s. That is a bit nuts.
That's outrageous. MIBR shouldn't be allowing this much damage through the gates. Yes, they're up to 11, but now they've got to close this one out the hard way, and it's the double AWP setup to try and do the trick. Fallen and KNG, that dynamic sniper duo that we saw firing on all cylinders earlier on Vertigo, wanting to make a re-emergence here on the potential final map of the day of Dust 2. They need 5 now to close this one out, and GAMBIT youngsters, a fast stratagem up towards short. Maybe applying this pressure. MIBR seem to be decently set up to deal with this. They'll have to challenge Fallen. We'll see what this utility is going to look like for GAMBIT youngsters as they throw just a single flash over the top. They really need an opening pick here, Scrib. Ooh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is indeed. Shiro going to find another Nafany to drop TRK. My goodness. 1v1v1v1s all over the shop. They're not winning any of them. Fallen looking to change that fact, and although Nafany spots him and almost gets the drop, Fallen wins the fight. YNG's on the other side of the map. Fallen has to try and fight his way out to save, it looks like. They have somewhat conceded the round, I think, especially with that bomb going down. Fallen trying to bait the peak. It's not coming. Shiro's patience paying off in a big way here, and as soon as he shows himself, or maybe when Shiro fancies it, the backstab will come in, but Fallen's still savvy to the fact that there's a guy chilling around here. I know you're around. Molly goes in, and there it is. Shiro pushes forwards, will get dropped, but of course that action all in vain. It does damage, don't get me wrong, but the round, of course, over, and it has been for quite some time.
I feel like that was unnecessary cruelty from Fallen. You just saw like a Zen-like state once again from Shiro, just cross-legged with his little booklet. I don't know what you call it. I'm not a very culturally savvy person, Scriv. But he was just chilling there. And then Molotov on the ground. Attacked. Attack. Savagery.
Yeah, absolute filth, mate. I mean, it was all the action we were getting, though, to be honest. Oh, Shiro. Wow. Getting the better of Fallen. Revenge for the previous round. Meanwhile, the aggression coming in out towards Long here. Oh, Inters does creep in, but TRK ready for him. And gets a second through the smoke. That's going to make the difference. He's retrieved an AK now. Gets himself an upgrade, but Shiro gets him through the smoke. What's going on here? Fur, meanwhile, bottom of pit. MP9 seem to be the weapon of the day. Nafany's been dropped. Shiro's the only one left. He's also the only one that's found any frags. He'll get rid of the AWP. They already have 2, my guy. But it's a nice idea, I suppose. Can he find a frag here? He will. No, the next 2 not completely out of the question.
He most importantly doesn't have a smoke for this cross. So Taco is going to have to miss a really easy shot. He does. That gives Shiro a way into this round. The bomb planted upon this A bomb site and the double AWPs to do the trick. MIBR, they might have just given away a really massive opportunity to Shiro the hero, who needs to find an ace in this one to put Gambit youngsters up to 9. MIBR are going to crawl into action. They have the kit and a couple of flashbangs on KNG, but realistically, none of these can connect. Their head spotted and Shiro snaps into action. Taco's going to rip him out of the server, and that's MIBR onto 12.
Explosive way to get it done as well. MIBR certainly heating up towards the end here. Gambit youngsters, that first rifle round from them was real fast, real aggressive. Very, very decisive stuff, as we have seen from them in the past. But the Brazilians bouncing back in the best way possible. Thanks to the bomb plant, though, and of course that loss bonus that had stacked up, Gambit youngsters will still be able to buy. And it's a pretty damn good one. No crazy shot to start us off this time from Shiro. Hobbit just spotting. Shiro had gone towards long, in fact, but there was no one contesting from MIBR. So, slower start to this round. Double upsell once again from the CT side. If they can find success with this, I think for another round and either bomb plant away, they'd set themselves up in a really good position to actually take this in 2-0 fashion. So, pressure on the youngsters.
No, in Counter-Strike, we've all got goldfish memory, but that's a round that Gambit youngsters should have definitely been winning there. Shiro does over 180 damage with his AWP through the double doors, and in the 1 versus 2, KNG is one of those final 2 members. So a real difficult, tricky scenario to try and pull off. Maybe if he nails the headshot onto Taka, it opens things up completely against the low HP final man. But unable to get the job done. And here with 50 seconds left, it's Gambit youngsters back towards the A-bomb site. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Scriv. That common classic Squid phrase at this point. And Nafany, he's going to be the first man through. That's a lovely spray away onto Fallen. The AWP gets nothing done. And Fallen's not having the same impact on this map. We saw him find 32 kills earlier on Vertigo. Only 9 here on Dust 2. And it might be saving once again for the MIBR side.
Yeah, just going to have to chill for a while as it does go from, well, 100 to 0, honestly. Very, very quick stuff. Back down to being very slow indeed. TRK will be hunted. Probably going to fall. Jumps the gun a little bit early as well, so doesn't even find a single frag there. Which could definitely have helped out keeping that economy modest. MIBR, though, should just about be able to put a buy together. Certainly the shoe on the other foot, I think, coming into this round, where the pressure was on Gambit youngsters to perform in the previous. It's now on MIBR. Gambit are in a great spot to close this gap, keep it as competitive as it possibly can be. MIBR, meanwhile, okay, looking to find themselves, you know, that 4-round lead and cling on to it. However, Taco gets tagged up in a slightly different angle to be taking from Shiro, actually, like lower down in the door. KNG, though, is the one to actually find a frag on the AWP and a big nade. Really good start for MIBR. They're going to continue to push forward. There's no time to break it down or talk about it. KNG going to drop. Taco is inside the smoke, the classic move that we're seeing an awful lot these days. Meanwhile, the rotation's coming in thick and fast. Fur and Taco at the same time, off the back of Fallen's frag, find themselves a killer piece. And that'll be a 2-man advantage for the Brazilians.
Not pretty. Quick kill leaves Axel all on his lonesome, with the bomb stranded towards the middle of the map. Can't imagine that he's got much of an opportunity to bring this one back in a way. The MP9 applying pressure from the rear. TRK is able to find both of them. That's 13 for MIBR. Lovely combination from Taco on that B-bomb site, though. You talked about that classic smoke play in the central portion, and that's why we put so much emphasis and stock into his play on the CT side. Just the ability to stay alive for so long is incredibly pivotal to allow those rotates to come through and overwhelm that attack. GAMBIT youngsters get outnumbered and outgunned on the B-bomb site, and there's nothing that can be done about it. They've obviously got a buy up once again. It's still slightly shaky as far as the economy is concerned for MIBR, as we see that MP9 for TRK. He's unable to trade it up in the previous round, and he has to carry through the SMG once again. Obviously, he doesn't want a FAMAS instead, an M4 instead of nades, perhaps. I don't even know if he could have afforded it at the best of times. Nonetheless, it's up to Taco once again.
Oh, and he's not ready. They get the better of him through the smoke. 5-on-3. GAMBIT youngsters looking set to get another one, as I feel the CT side will look to save off the back of this. There's that lurk presence in the form of Nafany, but nothing really showing, nothing coming their way. Nafany will get a freebie onto Fur, who doesn't respect the flank potential. And that's the secondary AWP taken down, so probably making the decision for them as well as to whether they buy or not in the next round. I think now with that, it'll be an eco around what they managed to save. But yeah, GAMBIT youngsters, again, able to kind of stay hot on the heels of MIBR if this continues. Obviously, MIBR have got the rounds that they need to be finding the game. But GAMBIT are knocking on that door, and they might gain a lot more ground than they were expecting coming into this next round. Actually, I think they'll probably buy around what they have, because they don't have the loss bonus. It's going to be a double eco situation regardless, so I would assume, yeah, they're going to put together a buy. See how it goes down.
It's time, Scriv. Put your tinfoil hat on and get your Illuminati triangle out, because this is exactly what happened on Vertigo. We were talking about deja vu quite a few times this map, but realistically, MIBR taking the short lead, the first half almost being identical to that of Vertigo just an hour ago. And once again, MIBR failing to close this one out early. It's getting close once again. Overtime is still on the cards for both of these teams. And then, what does the stopping power for GAMBIT youngsters say? That mental resilience, will it play a factor again? I think if they lose 2 maps in a row in very tight fashion, we've got to start to bring that into question. Right here, Shiro could easily get caught out. He is ready with the AWP, but doesn't take the shot. The double peek, and that's lots of damage done. But will they be expecting Fur? They're certainly not expecting Fallen.
Oh, they expect Fur, though. Shiro, that's a hell of a shot. Has he spotted the second man? No, but he's aware of the fact that there could be one. Takes the re-peek and finds Fallen. Oh, it's a great idea from MIBR, but it just does not work out at all.
My lord.
Now a 4-on-2 to recover from. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's a key round to be winning for GAMBIT youngsters. They are tested, and it's not over yet. You never know.
It seems to always be Shiro showing up. That is a howler of a double kill to pretty much secure this one. Let's see if TRK can do anything spectacular through this pretty dodgy smoke. They're not going to check him. Spots out the first and second, crossing over. Doesn't fire one bullet. And Shiro's up close and personal. This should be an easy first kill, but what was that headshot? Shiro's doing everything. He's got the Tech 9 in hand to potentially finish off the 4th. What a combination from the young sniper. 11 rounds on the board for GAMBIT youngsters, and that is something spectacular.
He is a pleasure to watch, honestly. He is so much fun to watch. Continues to improve. Up to 23 frags, stepping up in a big way against MIBR here. Maybe lacking a little bit of help, but he's creating the room for that help to come alive. This is what I was talking about at the top of the show, right? Since adding Hobbit to the lineup, they've lost a little bit of firepower, at least for now, and Shiro's been doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
I mean, if GAMBIT youngsters is the hospital, I guess Shiro's the doctor. He's basically enacting the plan single-handedly. He's doing surgery on MIBR.
He's pretty hot. He is pretty hot at the moment. And it's cool to see. And we'll see whether it's enough. Of course, throwaway round from MIBR. Not expecting an awful lot from that one, but moving into this, the pressure continues to be on, as it has been, it feels like, for this entire second half. Weight of the world on these Brazilian boys right now. They need to be finding this round. GAMBIT youngsters might just be able to take it to a third if they win this, sorry, in a clean fashion.
That is quite the opening shot, and the conversion from TRK ends a second. MIBR, any round here is worth its weight in gold on your CT side to get yourselves up to 14, 1 away from match point. At that very moment, they still have to convert. 80 seconds on the clock, and it's straight down mid for Hobbit, who really has to prize this one open single-handedly. He needs some sort of opening here, and I don't know where it's going to come from. MIBR seems to have a pretty solid standard defense, turtling down onto both of these bomb sites, giving away not too much over by the B side of things, with KNG just playing behind those double doors, swinging, dodging and weaving. And with 60 seconds left and nobody overexposing on the Brazilian side, it's the smokes towards A instead. But this is a bit of a ruse. It's a bait. I don't think it's going to force anybody off or over. Perhaps GAMBIT, I guess they're not expecting, but certainly fingers crossed and hoping for. And there goes the spray away through the smoke. But this can be very easily read from MIBR. They're not going to shift 1 inch off of B. And perhaps right back to the pointy letter.
Yeah, they're thrown for a loop here. They really are unsure. We'll see, though. Run boost coming in. Able to make it onto the A site, although it seems that way. Fur almost getting 2, not quite, but surely they've been set up here. Inter's the last one left in the 1-on-4. Can't get it done. A pretty clean round from MIBR. When the chips are down, they are able to indeed pull it off. Looks pretty damn good as well. Money still available for GAMBIT youngsters, but MIBR getting closer and closer to that all-important 15.
That's such a beautiful read from Fallen there, just to not budge a single muscle on the defense. You saw GAMBIT, they were trying their best. It looked like a double bluff for a second, with MIBR just not shifting KNG off of that B bomb site, everybody staying put upon long. That FAMAS to provide some worthwhile support. Gets MIBR up to 14 right now. You said it's all M4A4s. As Axel's able to crack it open once again. He seems to come alive when it really matters. Remember on Vertigo, MIBR, they were ahead 14-12 on their CT side, and GAMBIT youngsters were able to bring it back to 15-14 before we went to OT. As I said, maybe a slight issue with that mental resilience when push comes to shove and you're trying to end these maps, end these series, especially against players who they've obviously looked up for years.
Yeah, of course. It's always fun to maybe see kind of a changing of the guard feel. Not entirely, of course, because they're not really from the same scenes or whatever, but like, yeah, like you say, fans playing icons. KNG going to find Nafany. Axel holding from the top end of middle, not being checked here at all. One taps onto the first, spray onto the second is a little broken, but they've broken into the site itself. And based off the information they get from Axel, the position going to change here. So retaking full flow. Couple nades available, could do a lot of damage. Flashes over the top as well, but they're just waiting to make sure they get it perfect. Meanwhile, Shiro, that first port of call, the flashes, not going to be effective onto him, at least not yet. That one on high, also not effective, but a rare missed shot. However, makes up for it on the repeak. Inter's also chiming in and falling on 11 HP. Wants nothing to do with this, so he'll move away. GAMBIT youngsters up to 13. And there's no money available for the CTs.
Gotta say, that looked like shaky decision-making from MIBR there. Of course, you want to try and find an opening onto this A bomb site. If it was B, you can guarantee that they would go for the solid save. if they were to save those 3 rifles there, Scriv, this would have been a full buy. There's no other way to cut and slice it. You see that Fallen does have the AK in hand. And here comes the dilemma, decision time for MIBR. What do they go for in the form of a buy up here? I guess not too much. Maybe just pistols and armor. I guess a couple of deagles here and there. A couple of sets of body armor, perhaps. Looks like it's absolutely 0 investment. Gotta say, I do kind of like this. It gives them a wholesome buy into round number 28. You don't want your money to be polarized this late into things. And with just a couple of P250s here, there's always the opportunity for Fallen's AK to do something. And remember, the loss bonus isn't too built up for the Brazilians. They don't have loads of reserve cash to fall back upon. So maybe this is the best bet. It should allow the scoreline to resort back to 14-14. But Fallen, he wants to end things sooner.
Definitely troublesome there. They're all stacked on top of each other as well, so the goon squad going to be rolling around here for MIBR. Taco, here's the utility coming in. The rotations will be thick and fast. Able to find one on the P250. Oh, this is big so far. Oh my goodness, Fallen coming in with the double. Oh, and KNG from behind will shut them down. That might just be the final nail in the coffin. We will see. GAMBIT youngsters angry, and Shiro buying straight back in. No second thought on that, but my god, MIBR, that is the perfect round to steal.
That is a game changer, a momentum switcher, and a heartbreaker. Therefore, Fallen completely ends things on the B bomb site. 3 quick kills. And GAMBIT youngsters might be history in this tournament. Not quite breaking the Malta Vibes winning streak for them. That was done last week. But might knock them out in groups for a second time here. They've got plenty of seconds on the board to go into this A bomb site, perhaps. The switch up towards long, but MIBR with its standard defense, they haven't deviated from this too much, Scriv. Just putting Fallen this time on the A bomb site. All pit the ready. And remember, those double snipers are in action. MIBR are going to have a decent amount of cash on 3 players going into round 30. I guess they have to, at a minimum, survive with 2 players alive. But that's out of their thought process right now. They're looking to end this right here. 1 minute left. GAMBIT postured towards this A bomb site. They're not going for all too much. The smokes do come through on the B bomb site, but Fallen, he's going to be challenged.
Flash over the top. Oh, I'm not sure about that. The gap is closed, and he is zoomed in to his demise. 5 on 4. And I don't know whether they're able to break back into this round, to be honest with you, Squid. It's not looking too good for MIBR. Another one going to go down, and surely now that makes the decision to save. Money is just about able to put together another buy if all 3 of these players survive. If not, obviously they'll go for it, right? Don't get me wrong, but like, the buy won't be very good. And the hunt is now on, particularly towards this B site. Problematic for the remaining MIBR boys, and very important for them to save, to be honest with you. At the same time, GAMBIT youngsters coming in with that 14th staying alive for another round longer, and overtime version 2 is certainly on the cards, it looks like. Oh, Shiro, Axile both coming in with kills. Oh, that's a shame. Taco was maybe half a second away from surviving. They'll get 1 rifle in, but it's not going to be enough for a comfortable buy. Yeah, pause definitely needed.
Yeah, the minimum benchmark right there for MIBR was saving with 2 rifles alive. They're only able to get 1 through to the 30th. So someone is going to be stuck without a rifle in hand. I guarantee KNG, he's got to be picking up an AWP right here. I wouldn't even be surprised if Third drops Fallen, the double AWP setup, and we see him holstering a deagle instead. This is definitely a dilemma time for MIBR. And will it be the captain holstering this sniper? I guess he's lingering in the middle of the scoreboard for the Brazilians. I really wouldn't be surprised if he picks it up here. And yeah, you see him drop over that pistol. I'm sure that he's going to be receiving that sniper in the next couple of seconds. And maybe it's Thur to take up the duties with the single P250, perhaps? No, Fallen. He's keeping a CZ in hand himself. So giving away the sniper to Thur. As we talked about, MIBR are such a dangerous team with these AWPs. So many players here. That's the 4th member of this Brazilian side that we've seen with the AWP this series, with Taco being the other. Obviously, KNG and Fallen holstering it the majority of the time.
Oh, Taco. Great spot for him. Able to get the double. That's absolutely massive. Oh, Axel going to get tagged up as well. Can't fight his way out here. He is locked into pit. Nafany has to be the hero to bail Gambit youngsters out, at least for now. And, well, they might just have done it back into a 2-on-2. Yorp's in play. Oh, Axel finding the head of Fur and KNG the only one left. Wow, I thought this was all said and done, but no, not the case.
I got shuffled in ready to get back onto camera, but I think we're going to overtime once again instead, Scriv. KNG just watching the long doors. This is a gamble. I don't know if Gambit youngsters are going to backtrack their way out. I don't see any reason why they would. They've still got this single smoke for the A-cross. And will they hear those audio cues? I think he's just out of range. So as the smoke goes through, KNG, since it's only one smoke grenade, he will have an angle through this one. And if he finds Nafany first, here's the opportunity to end the series right here, right now. An opportunity now. The nade goes over the top, doesn't connect. Axel still standing, and they now know exactly where KNG's playing from. Another missed shot, and the Molotov is going to deal with him. 15-15, and we go to overtime again.
Madness. Absolute madness. Really solid stuff from both teams. MIBR, I mean, just that round really sums it up, right? Coming out ahead, looking good, surely done it, and Gambit youngsters, against all the odds, clutch it back up. MIBR looking for another overtime. Really good to see from these two teams. I mean, the scorelines are going to reflect how we felt coming into it, right? Close, vulnerable MIBR, on the rise Gambit youngsters, and their rankings, as it were, depending on which ones you look at, certainly close. So, it's exciting stuff. It's really exciting stuff.
The double AWPs for MIBR seems to be what they fall back onto as soon as they get money in hand. We saw it there in the 30th round and making a reappearance again in overtime as Gambit youngsters push the brakes upon the 82nd mark. All of the options still on the table with Long and the B tunnels firmly under their control. MIBR, I don't think they've gone for 1 point of aggression all map on this CT half. Just playing a fairly standard defense, and it's failed to close out the series for them. As two teams who seem kind of inseparable. Remember, Inferno's still on the cards. We thought things were over in the 4 versus 2, but we might have another map to boot. 50 seconds left. They're going to head through mid, and Fur just falls on deaf ears, instantly gets eviscerated, and now KNG needs to hold up the numbers. There's a Molotov to meet him at the back of this B bomb site. He's starting to find the frags. Now encroaching, there's the second volley through. This is going to burn him alive. Roasted and toasted as Hobbit finds him.
Oh, Axile picking up a double on his own as well. Beautiful stuff. Taco, 1-on-4. Got the money, so you might as well, I guess, just for the stats at this point. Okay. That second one's a little ridiculous. But overall, the round not going to happen. On to 16 for Gambit youngsters. They finally managed the 16th, and they will continue the momentum that they had for regulation to bring us to the overtime. Keeping it going. Really looking good here.
Everybody to remember that if you've got $16,000 in your bank account in MR3, you do not need to hunt. You're never going to break a CT economy. We obviously see that KNG is quite low on cash, but he can be purchased by TRK, Taco in the next round, as MIBR will carry through the double AWP setup. This time Fallen again going for the M4, the less favorable rifle for him, allowing Fur to snipe instead.
Yeah, well, and snipe successful he shall. Solid stuff. Flash coming in. Fallen. I think his position is known here. But with the threat of Fur, they feel they can't really deal with him. Checking the angle. Oh, no, and looking the wrong way. Maybe his position wasn't known. He almost gets two, in fact. Fur, meanwhile, going to come in on the crack angle. The Kalat comes in. He doesn't get the frags, but all the same, able to find a lot of damage. He will fall to Hobbit. TRK gets the trade. MIBR going to be straight back in with their 16th. So, foot in the door for Gambit youngsters. Slam back in their face by MIBR. They're really trying, really trying on both sides to clean this up.
And this does look like Vertigo all over again. Gambit a shallow lead, but it's Shiro who has to do it once again in the 1 versus 3. And I don't know if he's got the HP here, Scriv, to do the trick. There's the swing through from Taco. Great timing. 16 to 16. One more round is the difference maker in the first half of OT here. 2-1 obviously being the most common scoreline that we do see in overtime. Here come the autos, though. Trying to crunch their way onto this defense, and realistically, not too much damage dealt. 2 tags, 0 frags. Doesn't matter. They've got plenty of cash on the Gambit youngsters side, and giving away an auto is not really going to matter too much either. MIBR get away with that one pretty much scot-free.
Almost, yeah. We'll see whether that tagging comes into play in the latter stages here. Flash over the top for forced back. Really interesting to see it. It does seem that, like, the double AWP moves around an awful lot, and it's kind of cool to see. Maybe per map, maybe even just depending on how they're feeling. Because you notice in this round, actually, I hadn't spotted it, but it's KNG and Fur, of course, on the AWPs. Fallen not. Little weird. But maybe that fresh change is what they're after, and what Fallen particularly feels will find them success. 35 seconds left here, Squid. They're really winding the clock down on this Gambit youngsters side. Got to make a move soon. I've seen in recent history, both earlier today and yesterday, that they wind the clock down a bit too much. KNG loving the aggression from him. The no-scope as well. Fantastic stuff. Finds 2, will get taken down, and Intis to drop Taco again. Gambit youngsters, they can never truly be written off.
This is now an all-important retake that MIBR, being the last round of the half, will of course go for. Fallen actually predicts the angle perfectly, nonetheless unable to connect with the shots. And I guess Fur will trade out to the M4 on the ground, knowing that Nafani's up close and personal. He does have the support from Inters. A peek and a headshot. That should end the half. TRK then falls, and Gambit youngsters take the lead before we go to OT1, half number 2.
All to play for. Of course, tournament life on the line here for Gambit youngsters. If they end up losing this one, they will go out. Yeah, this was nasty.
How about that? I feel like that's an underused meme nowadays. I don't feel people use the "how about that" meme anymore.
Yeah, I think it should maybe stay dead, if I'm honest.
Stay dead?
Yeah, it's one of the worst ones. I'm all for like a revival of My Name Jeff again and all that kind of stuff. That's a great one. Love that, but not that one. Either way, Fur, aggressive, out long, able to find the first, gets away scot-free, at least initially, but Axel trades him, and where are the rest of the boys? There was a number of players stacked up there. They're not able to find it. Shiro going to drop TRK. KNG finds Axel. Shiro's still alive, though. Does miss a shot, but he needs to be mollied out now. KNG, meanwhile, taking down Nafani, falling to find Shiro. The speed employed by MIBR eventually gets the better of the vast majority of the Gambit side. Hobbit, yeah, he doesn't really fancy his chances. 1 on 3. There's an AWP to be saved. Kind of interesting, though. MR316K. Yeah, just go for it, man. And I think it is like a mental thing almost. That he's just not confident in himself. He will force himself into it. But this is a very weak attempt. Also, I have to note he doesn't have a kit. Which is funny. But honestly, I don't think he's going to have a chance to use it. KNG, yeah, gets overlooked and will drop him. But it just seems, isn't it? Like, it's a confidence thing. He took the AWP, went to save, and his teammates, it felt like, kind of saying, well, what are you saving for, dude? You don't need to do that.
Yeah, I've got a couple of pet peeves in Counter-Strike. The smokes being missed on the long cross, on both outside of Nuke and long of Dust 2. Also, saving an MR316K is definitely a pet peeve of mine. There's pretty much no scenario when it's favorable, even in a 1 versus 3 there. How many 1v3s do we see just over the course of CS history? This time, GAMBIT youngsters with a very heavy presence upon A long. They're going to at least find the first, but MIBR, they're not going to give up on this one just yet, especially with Fallen's AWP into action. Shiro able to annihilate and execute him. Still a 3 versus 2. Is MIBR, they're going to apply the further pressure.
Need to recover the bomb back, though. To be honest, no one has the bomb. I don't think they've quite noticed, and they may well gain a lot of ground. But unless it's massively substantial ground, yeah, without the bomb, it will be difficult. They work their way on towards that A-bomb site. Rotation has come in very quickly here towards short from the double ops. And now the smokes have disappeared, so they kind of have to do it all again. Hobbit's coming in from behind. He'll drop the bomb. And it's all onto Fur. 1 on 3. He's found the first. 2 more to go. He knows where that second man is, but doesn't know where the third is on short itself. Collects the bomb, goes for the plant. They've once again readjusted with the AWP coming in from low. And Hobbit coming from short. Fur, though, creeping forwards, trying to get proactive here. This could be a really good spot for him as well. They're taking a lot of time to move together. And well, they've given him all the room in the world. Need to go into this facing backwards, and they're not. Shiro, he moves forwards. He gets taken down. Hobbit needs to find the trade, and Ferg is playing it nice. And Safe peeks up for a crazy headshot. My God, that is insane. Gets the 18th for MIBR. Second overtime secured. And with a round like that, how do you recover? Look at that. Even in the slow-mo, it looks insane.
So quick, so speedy. For such consistent threat in this series, up to 28 frags right now. And realistically, that was probably the sloppiest round of the series for MIBR. They put the single long smoke down, forgot the bomb until it had dissipated, just allowing Third to being caught out at probably 5 different attempts. And there's an all-important shot for Fallen. MIBR, it's match point here in the best of 3. They might kick GAMBIT youngsters out of this tournament. That might be the last time we see Nafani in this series. The flash is through once again. Shiro doesn't connect anything.
Slowing it way down. Looking to go for that dribble execute, of course. Speed being employed. Actually leaving once again that angle open for Shiro. Oh, we'll see how it goes down, but some major question marks on that one, to be honest. Taco creeping up, gets caught off guard by Inters. Looks like we might be requiring another overtime here, 4 on 3. They do kind of have the short control, looking to try and force a bomb plant with that smoke, I would have thought. Inters trying to get above it, does get spotted, but KNG can't take him down. It's all onto Fur as Fallen goes into the grave. Fur tagged up and finished off. Overtime 2 required here on Dust 2. Again, another messy round from MIBR, and the short approaches, oh my goodness, they are so questionable. That's the kindest word I can use, to be honest.
They're sloppier than dropped custard. We saw the mistakes with the smokes. A couple of mistakes also upon short. 18 to 18 being the result. GAMBIT youngsters are going to punish all sloppiness, any mistakes. They've got the firepower, and it's once again Shiro providing. Is he up to 70 kills in 2 maps? This is outstanding from the young CIS sniper, and he's not finished just yet. 18-18, you see Gambit youngsters once again becoming the short favorites in this one. That's according to our buddies over at LootBet. MIBR going for the single sniper approach, maybe towards the B bomb site for the first time. I'd love to see them throw in a B split here. Challenging Shiro just seems like suicide. And once again, he opens up. That's his 36th frag of this map.
Beast. Absolute beast. MIBR again on the back foot. Really struggling here. Not looking good at all. Moving away from the A side of things. Just playing nice and patient. Fallen hoping someone walks into his crosshair. And well, Inters is on the way. How wide does he go here though? Will creep out. Fallen misses the shot. How, he says, as he looks back in awe that somehow that bullet did not land. Very uncharacteristic on an angle like that for Fallen to be missing. Meanwhile, Inters bombarded by nades, looking to get aggressive. Flash comes in. Fallen ready for him. Fallen will drop him. Hobbit only going 1 for 1. Nafany, meanwhile, hidden away under window. Will get spotted, though, and the org can't do it. 3 on 2 with Shiro and Axile left to clutch up.
Apart from the initial whiff from Fallen, that was a pretty tight round from MIBR, trading evenly and effectively on the B bomb site, forcing into place a really tough, tricky retake from Gambit. Shiro's swapped out to the M4A4. And this is going to be so difficult against the Brazilians. Shiro jumps and leaps and bangs through, unable to find the first, and now it's Axel versus everybody. He does fall to the MIBR trio there on the afterplant. 18-19. T-side tightening up ever so slightly right there. That's a mistake from Fallen, but we've got to excuse just a couple of errors in judgment here and there. He's up to 20 kills here on this second map. It is actually Thur leading the charge here, Scriv. 31 frags, not quite to the level of Shiro here. There's still an open door for both teams as we're deep into half number 2 of overtime.
Exciting stuff stacking up, of course. The Gambit youngsters will be kicking themselves. That previous round honestly started off so well. MIBR angry with themselves as well, to be honest, that they weren't able to convert it in our first bout of overtime. Another slow approach coming in as they just, you know, work things out, look towards short, not touching long this time. Their short approaches have been poor. So hopefully they can learn from their lessons and really... Oh, okay, change things up here. They change it up by trying to drop KNG into CT. It doesn't work. Inters will be ready for it. Does manage to find the frag, and now we go back into the classic let's go B because A didn't work. Keeping things open here, though. Fallen misses the shot. Will end up going down. 5 on 3. B-bomb site still going to be the final destination by the looks of things, but 2 men down. They need to find these frags on B itself without losing any players if this round is to be winnable.
Yeah, much like Final Destination, this looks to be a bloodbath. As TRK, he is going to sprawl his way through the double doors unsuccessfully. Nafany shuts him away as well. What looks to be a fairly convincing round here. Taco's trying to open things up single-handedly. Does bait the AWP shot out on the cross, and Inters does finish off. One final member. Taco wants to do it all right now. Trying to secure the ace for number 20, and it's not going to happen. Even Stevens once again. It's the CT side stands up strong one more time. MIBR trying to rinse and repeat there towards the B split. Doesn't work out. Fallen misses a key shot towards the CT spawn. Misses 2, in fact. And Gambit youngsters able to punish that, of course. Putting them into an unwinnable 5 versus 2. Yes, Taco gave his best effort, but doesn't make the magic happen. 19-19.
Pretty incredible stuff so far. Of course, to remind people, I suppose it gets a bit difficult into the latter overtimes. 22. I'm also saying it for myself, just to be sure. 22 to win, 21 apiece for another overtime.
You are correct.
Hell yeah. That's what we like to hit. It's always dangerous doing the on-air maths. But be confident. If you think about it for about 10 minutes before you say it, you know, you should be okay.
I mean, once it gets to triple or quadruple overtime, I have to get the abacus out.
Yeah. Yeah, then it gets a bit ridiculous. The double overtimes are somewhat rare, but not completely unheard of, right? Anything beyond this definitely is once a month kind of territory for Counter-Strike in general, I feel, you know?
Yeah, every now and again, two casters draw the short straw.
Yeah.
They get a 70 round map. Who's it going to be this month? Tune in to find out. 40 seconds left, and MIBR heading on to long ones again. That was incredibly close for Shiro, as he is still standing. Axel trying to hold up the line from the left-hand side, dug down in pit. Doesn't get the job done, and once again, another 3 versus 3. It feels, Scriv, like all of these rounds are coming down to the absolute wire. Putting it up to Tackle once again to try and open things up. Spraying through these smokes. There might be a slight gap in it. And Inters, he's going to take control of A. Hobbit finishes things off. 20 to 19. Gambit, they now need 2 to finish. MIBR, it has to be a flawless, faultless scorecard on that CT side to get to 22. That'd be 3 out of 3.
Yeah, no easy task, that one. So we'll see. We will see. Really, really, really weird stuff, though, towards the end, honestly. Like, it's becoming a bit strange. Gambit youngsters seem to have the odds in their favor coming into this. So there you are. Things are shifting slightly. So much aggression here at long. Hobbit, the flashes dissipate, and he's able to find a frag. Nafany getting one as well. Oh, Gambit youngsters very early on into the second half of overtime might just have the map point on their side. It is hard to tell, though. 5-on-3, MIBR once again left to recover things, and on the CT side having to recover things. So tough. Certainly easier said than done. Oh, flashing their way in. Taco going to get taken down. They're trying to do something here on the CT end. It's just not working. Gambit youngsters know they have to make a move. And they've got them red. "55 seconds. KNG slowly making his way over, although he is very wary of middle, and rightly so. Meanwhile, Fallen here. Oh, gonna miss the shot again. They do kind of line up for him, but he's only able to get one. Meanwhile, all onto KNG, looking to get aggressive ahead of things. Oh, the lineup again for him. So very close. Also only good for one. Gambit youngsters start the second half relatively well. Really decisive stuff, and MIBR just not able to get back in. And now 2 in a row required from MIBR to take us to another overtime.
And now this is very open for a 3-map series. Inferno certainly on the cards. The opportunity for both teams to take the other's pick. With MIBR obviously taking Vertigo. That was the map, the territory that Gambit youngsters selected to go for. Might be doing the damage on the other side. Gambit want to close this out right here, right now. They don't want any more pressure in this second map. They want a third and final in this series. And Inferno is always that handshake, that stalemate, that middle ground that we constantly see throughout Counter-Strike history in 3-mappers. Fallen misses the first opportunity.
Gonna go for it again. At least somewhat. This is a risky angle. Rail smoke comes in, and he's forced to make a decision, sticking around inside it, but Not going to work out. Meanwhile, KNG getting aggressive over on B. Taco does trade him, but still the 1-for-1 going to work out for the T side, and they're going to try their best to burst out. However, slows back down. 40 seconds left. Gambit youngsters look for a different approach, moving back towards A, and Fur is ready for them. First comes in for him, able to drop back, and yeah, just play for the time here. The molly will come through, but he makes it out nice and quick, even landing a shot or two, or at least trying to. 4 on 3, Fallen down below. Needs to be careful, they all do. Nathany going to drop Fur, Fallen as well out in the open. The flash is sound from TRK though, and that might just do it. Shiro, 1 on 3, 15 seconds, not looking likely. TRK drops him. MIBR staying alive, one more in it.
TRK bailing MIBR out of worlds of trouble right there. The most cost-effective flash of the series. Absolutely blinding everybody on the attack, allowing Fallen to hit a nice quick scope. 21-20. That was just seconds away from crumbling apart for the Brazilians on the A bomb site. If Fallen drops there, it leaves it all down to TRK to get the job done on his lonesome. And one flashbang being the difference maker there. A flurry of weaponry and the terrorists spawn for Gambit youngsters. They obviously want to do this preliminary damage, but it hasn't pumped through. 100 HP for all members of MIBR. And it's low risk or no risk, high reward, or medium reward, I should probably say. It's certainly not a high risk setting to buy in auto snipers in a final round like this. It's triple overtime or bust for MIBR, as they are behind by 1. These AK-47s already sprawling towards short. Map control at all accounts for Gambit youngsters. And with Fallen watching down towards this short area once again, another time he's been forced off this angle without finding an opening pick. I feel at this sort of tier of play, that angle is way less effective. A AWP like Shiro's probably going to pre-fire it and straight into the B bomb site. MIBR, they've got all of the building blocks of a good defense. There's the first 2 frags, and KNG, he's still posted with the AWP. Needs to hit another shot to end any chaos over towards this side of the map, and Taco's going to provide once again. Still an opportunity to close.
Yeah, definitely not all said and done just yet. Would be absolutely heartbreaking for MIBR if this is the way that they lose the map. This shot coming in, the bomb plant at the very least. Nade over the top, softening them up. You know, definitely turning the M4s here into one-tap machines. Smoke to come in to give them a bit of room. Of course, they've got that player in the form of Fur moving through. So much noise being made here, yeah, and they have to try and escape. They just can't. Great Molotov, actually. And another overtime required, folks. Not said and done just yet. MIBR clinging on to Dust 2, clinging on to the dream of the 2-0.
They're going to be exceptionally difficult to put to bed in this series. I can tell you that much right now. We've seen overtimes in both maps. We're totaling 4 overtimes across the 2 of them. 21-21. And we are not done. We could even see more Counter-Strike in the form of a 3rd map here, Scriv. We might be hours and hours in the making. Well, realistically, MIBR wants to close it down sooner rather than later, and I would say that this is the time to shine on your favorite CT side. You've got that double AWP setup starting to find a little bit of success. The B defense seems to be firing on all cylinders as well. It's less of Taco playing all on his lonesome and having that double set piece in place for Gambit youngsters not to be able to just abuse this setup as per usual. Instead, they're being held at an arm's length. We see the retakes really coming through. MIBR conserving a lot of utility there. A couple of Molotovs and smokes. That really does open up the boundaries of this B bomb site. What is commonly a really hard site to retake then becomes a lot easier with just a Molotov here to force you outside of Xbox. And, of course, behind the car. 21-21. Still all to play for.
Really playing with as much time as they have in the break here as well. As the slowdown might do them a bit of good, or it might do them a bit of not good, to be honest. It all depends. I feel like Gambit youngsters would like to get into things again, ready and raring to go. We do hear the ticks coming in. That, generally speaking, means that we are getting into the action. And here we go. Moving forwards. Excited to see how things are going to go down. It really, really is heating up here on Dust 2, and there's still the potential of the third. Speaking of heat, it's Inferno. The odds shifting again ever so slightly, but still in favor of Gambit youngsters.
They're becoming more and more favored ever so slightly every time we see those odds. Got to close it out at some point, perhaps, according to the bettors. Realistically, this is an opportunity now for MIBR to shine. CT side, double AWP setup in place. Fallen just hasn't been using that AWP on the CT side all too much. And when he has, he's found relatively little success. Fur, I guess, has had a little more towards the middle of the map. This time, he switched back to this Fallen KNG combo. And now they have that AWP presence stuck on the A bomb site. Fallen once again just peering towards short, seeing if he can spot out an initial terrorist. Obviously not giving away too much in the initial 50 seconds of this third bout of OT. I guess the B splits have been a bit of a favourite for Gambit youngsters. Let's see if they head that way once again. They certainly could with the prod of inters towards upper B tons. And as the smokes come through, this is definitely what they're gesturing here. And that smoke grenade will probably just confirm things for MIBR. The question mark in their head is, why would they use so much utility if they weren't going towards B? And now Taka has to come in clutch.
Oh, KNG, that is a great shot. Taco peeking out after being mollied off as well. Another great fight to be winning. KNG standing strong, not giving them a single chance here. Shiro falls to Fur. And MIBR finally get their 22nd.
I love that attempt at the quick scope. The massive flick from Shiro doesn't come through this time. Would have been a little crazy if he would have connected it. 22-21, and MIBR back to winning ways on this CT side. We see Fallen regaining that AWP at the very start of round number 44 here, Scriv. We're getting deep into the action here, into the unknown. Hours ago, we were talking about... Wait, what were we talking about? We said that there was a certain time to mention something. I can't remember what it was, but maybe map 3 deep into map 2 would have been the time. Earlier on Vertigo, what was it? I can't remember. I've got a goldfish memory. Yeah,
it's escaping me as well, to be honest. We'll have to go back and watch the VOD, mate.
I'll have to go back. I'll have to dig back into this one. And this has been a really interesting series, all things considered. We are just struggling to close. There's KNG this time missing the shots.
Good utility usage, though. Returning the damage and keeping them at bay for a little while longer. Oh, Shiro going to drop Fallen, though. Again, a key fight to be winning. Fallen tried to get cheeky. Not going to work for him. So, man advantage going into the execute, which they are, by the looks of things, indeed going to follow up on. More nade damage coming in for... Going to find Nafany nice and easy. Meanwhile, KNG has to be careful. They do have 2 players in already with the rotations on the way pretty damn quickly. There's 3 ready and waiting towards ramp. This is tough for Gambit youngsters. They try from long. KNG is way ahead of you, Axel, mate. And now what? 35 seconds left. You do have the bomb. Where do you go? Shiro going to try and clutch it up. Has to ace. What is that flick? Let's be careful here, boys. KNG does drop him, but finally one of those Hail Mary flicks does land. In the end, though, it will be written off, and MIBR on the verge of a flawless half.
Jesus, look at this one. That is absolutely outrageous for Shiro. And seems to give him a bit of a chance in the round before he gets completely shut away. An opportunity for a world-busting 1 versus 4. It probably would have put us onto at least quadruple overtime or Inferno right there. That would have been a massive momentum switch. Nonetheless, MIBR keep up this flawless CT side. 1 more, and that'll be the 3-0. Exactly what they're aiming for here. And realistically, Scriv, I think both of these OTs have been actually favoring the T side thus far. So MIBR picking up finally a couple of CT rounds will definitely favor them as they get into things. You see, TRK doesn't want to throw that smoke right there. I think the angle of it would have probably given away his position. This time they just want to play the passive defense.
Oh, look at that. Massive double TRK. He'll lose his teammate in the form of Fur. They think they may well have mollied him out as well. Nade going in, doesn't quite land. But Inters has been dinked. 4-on-3, that looks like it might sway the way of MIBR if they play their cards right. Taco's still on B, so I guess directly a 3-on-3 over on the site itself. Shiro coming in with his trusty Krieg, doesn't find success. TRK getting another. It will all be on to Shiro, and he ends up falling. 24-21. MIBR 1 round away after that flawless CT half.
Well, there we go. The Brazilians applying the heat and the pressure once again. It has to be a flawless third and final OT for Gambit youngsters if they're going to push us to number 4. It needs to be 3 in a row here if they want to at least take us to another OT and perhaps even Inferno. And on this CT side, those odds dramatically shift here. People massively favoring MIBR to take at least 1 round of this T side. I've got to say, Scriv, commonly this T side for MIBR has been a little bit shaky. We saw that in OT2 where they did make a couple of mistakes, blundering the smokes here and there. They're always able to find, at least something. It's straight into the B-bomb site to try and finish this one off. Fallen's out first, and what a shot to nail Hobbit. Nafany drops, and this might be series over. MIBR switch up the pace. It's foot on the accelerator here on Dust 2. And with 90 seconds left, that bomb goes down in a way. An impossible retake in the 2 versus 4.
Not looking good. Gambit youngsters, the reality starting to set in, but Shiro and Axel trying to deny that. Still clinging on to the dream of taking it to a 3rd map. Not even the series, just taking it to a 3rd map seems so hard for them. So much utility coming in. They've got to start to make a move. Shiro can't even make it up to window. That's so awkward through the smoke he's heard. He gets taken down. KNG on the flank will seal the deal. The 3rd bout of overtime is flawless from MIBR. And that will indeed be all she wrote. They picked up the first map, by the way. If you don't remember, it was a while ago. So therefore, they win it 2-0, and they'll be moving forwards to the playoffs. Gambit youngsters, they bow out great.